second in hand over the second position man. As I was saying, he's only got 10th of a second over his teammate there, so sorry, over Martin Schumacher there, who's in third position. So he has to be careful. Looking down the rest of the penalties at the moment. Chris Gray caused a chain reaction incident, which prompted a warning for him, so not too bad for Chris Gray. He is in the service, he's currently in 16th position for Red 5 Racing. Timo Toika, failure to readdress position after a collision. He gets a 5-place grid penalty for this race. Again, I can't see him on the grid, so another penalty that probably won't apply. And the last man on the rather clean penalty list, actually, I Have a Bass, will also receive a 5-place grid penalty for the same reason as Timo Toika. So I Have a Bass, who's currently 13th in the server. That will drop him down to 18th position when his penalty applies. You're currently watching Zerk, who's just started another hot lap. We'll see if he can improve and get any closer than the current 4/10 gap. In fact, Schumacher's jumped up into second. Actually, we just missed that while I was reading the penalties out. Schumacher has just jumped up into second position. So Benjamin Zerk's got it all to do now. A great effort from Martin Schumacher there. He's got down to 28.4 now. We haven't seen him yet in the Formula Challenges, I don't believe. He's been racing the Super Cup mainly, but doing a great job equipping himself in this league as well. So currently not going to do anything on this lap though. There's a spinner in the background there. Not quite sure who that was. Schumacher crosses the line, doesn't improve that time around. At a very slow lap. We will have some interviews for you today, that's for sure. We've got Kevin Westphal, who's currently waiting down in the green room, along with Aaron Maspero, who's just joined as well. So we will have plenty of interviews for you. We've got 9 minutes left of this qualifying session, so I'll bring them up shortly and we'll get them involved in the broadcast. Obviously the Logic CV Racing team boss, Kevin Westphal, and Aaron Maspero, the Uxon Racing driver, who's not taking part in this qualifying session, so we'll have plenty of insight from them in a second. Again, if you'd like to get in touch with us, obviously Facebook, Twitter, you know the addresses by now. Or just simply message me on TeamSpeak or in the game or anything you want to do. Facebook I'm on now, so if you want to get in touch and get your comments in, feel free to do so and get them read out on there live. Zerk goes through sector 1 faster than his teammate actually, so Zerk really putting an effort in to try and regain that position he lost to Schumacher, and Van Brenk's moved up now to 5th position, so Van Brenk on a charge as well. Amazingly though, 5th position, 1.3 seconds away from pole, so the Logic CV guys really have taken this series a step further, and Zerk there get caught out by one of the Nijos. That was one of the Nijo cars spinning, which must be John McLean, and it is indeed, and that's ruined Zerk's lap. He was slightly caught out there, slightly caught a foot. Zerk will have to regroup and try again there. Schumacher back in pits now. Van Brenk in 5th position. We'll quickly switch to him and have a look, see what he's doing. He's a bit off in sector 1, but he is 1.3 off overall, so as we say, that could possibly be an improvement. He gets very twitchy through the chicane there, so they're really struggling for them, and the curbs here are absolutely diabolical, that's for sure, so really is a struggle to get these curbs working properly. James Ross still inside the top 10 in 8th position. He's doing a good job, so he's doing a good run up there in 8th position there for Velocity Racing. Just looking around the circuit to see who's closest to finishing a lap or starting a lap. Robin Van Brenk's just crossed the line again, doesn't improve obviously after that twitch we saw in the middle sector. Nyman's going back out on the circuit, as is Riku Sapila now, so they're all heading back out. James Ross, as we see, they're getting bulked slightly through sector 2, and a Bass in front of him almost tipped the car over the curb. That's unbelievable. That was unbelievable. He got so high off that curb there. Tim Parisi seems content in 4th position currently, not actually out on circuit, so we're not looking like he's going to improve. Scott Bennett's down in 12th position, but that's still very good for Scott. Earlier in the season, you wouldn't have put him in the top 12, that's for sure. He was down in the 20th as 19th and 20th, but not anymore. He's well up now, acquitting himself near the top 10 of every race. James Ross comes across the line. This lap isn't going to improve him, actually, as we saw. He got balked in the final sector. Martin Schumacher just behind, though, has just started a hot lap. We'll go on board with him into turn one. You see, he flick it right down the gearbox now. Keep it nice and steady under braking. He's got a bit of traffic and it's lost the back end there, so maybe slightly distracted, but you've got to keep it steady under braking there into turn one. He does recover from that, so we'll go back on board. Hopefully he'll go full shot for this next chicane. Like he's just trying to warm the tyres up there, but we'll switch to someone else who's on a harder lap, because there are people out there doing times. Try and find someone we never normally go around with. Let's have a look. We normally try and cover everyone on the broadcast, obviously, but it's quite difficult sometimes. Kidding out for one last attempt. Nyman's just come across the line now in 6th position, so we'll go on board with him as we chuck it into turn one. You see if he can keep it straighter this time. He's got traffic once again, but he does keep it straight in the braking. Clips the curb slightly there, which has cost him a little bit of time, because you can clip the inside, but if you go too far, there's some rumble strip bumps, and they really do affect the car balance. It's like this one here. If you clip it so much, it's fine. That's perfect apex there from Nyman, so that's really good what he's done there. No issues going through that chicane whatsoever. Head down to the sector 1, but you unfortunately can't see it at the moment as he turns in now to the left hand of the second gear, usually up on the throttle nice nearly. Use a little cut there in the inside of the circuit as Nyman does perfectly there, just behind his teammate at the moment. In fact, 3/10 behind his teammate. Now the third gear right hander, now brake hard, let it drift a bit wide. It took a tighter apex there. You can go in wide as that one and bring it back. Third gear flat out through this chicane now, fast chicane that. Obviously avoiding the curbs. Now down to third gear, it was on our setup, not quite sure what Nyman is using. On the throttle nice and nearly, don't get on the grass on the exit too much, otherwise it will stop the car. He's 1.6 down on this lap, so this isn't going to improve him, unfortunately. Jasper's just been sat in the pit lane the whole time, so obviously he's quite content. This next left-hander is very tricky. You can't take too much curb on the inside because there's some rumble strips, as you just saw. Fourth gear, watch the tyres on the inside there, all the way around, keep it nice and tight. Nyman running out slightly wide there, but hooks it back to the left-hander afterwards. Now wait on the throttle, now get on the middle of the corner. Don't run too wide. I'm not quite sure about the white line on the exit there, if they're allowed to do it. And Nyman across his line, obviously stays 6. Slightly cutting turn one there, so he needs to be careful. And we currently have Aaron Maspero, as I said, in the lobby. I will bring him up now for the interview, so Aaron Maspero will join us now. Obviously Aaron Maspero unfortunately not taking part in this session due to a collision which happened on the first lap apparently, which caused him to escape, which means obviously no longer you can take part in this session. Aaron, thanks for joining us anyway. Obviously it must be quite disappointing for you to be starting well down the field. You're going to be pretty much at the back. I believe you want to clear some team name issues up as well. Maybe I'm pronouncing your team name wrong, so welcome to the box firstly, and let's see what you have to say.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, I just wanted to pop in just to say that every time my friends and stuff listen to the broadcast, you refer to us as UKSOM, and it's actually pronounced UKSOM. We're a modding team. If you go to uksom.co.uk, you can have a look at the website, and yeah, that was it really.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I remember when you first came in, I think I called it UKSOM as such then. But I wasn't sure what the proper pronunciation is because no one's really said anything. So thank you for clearing that up for us anyway. Do appreciate that.
Okay.
Obviously, you'd be slightly disappointed of this session. So what are your plans for the race now?
I think I'm going to try and just go long and stay out of trouble and see where we pick up for a good sprint race start. Really. Obviously, Robin is still up there, and I think he's got the race pace probably to challenge for a podium.
Yeah, I was just thinking that actually. Obviously, being in and Zerk has just taken back second position with 28.2, so he's done the job, and that puts Schumacher down to third position. We have to see if Schumacher can respond, but we're currently watching Benjamin, who's many at Logic's EV Racing Team 1-2.
They're quick, aren't they?
They are very quick, Aaron. I was about to say, actually, obviously you're starting from the back. If you and he's actually up in sector 1 and his teammate, as we saw before, so we'll keep an eye on this lap while we're interviewing Aaron here. Obviously, like you say, starting from the back, is it an advantage if you just cruise around in 15th position, start on pole for the second race, try and go and win that one?
Maybe, but I'm not sure it's in my makeup to do that, to be honest. I'll go out there and get as high as we can, and we could be in an accident in turn 1, who knows.
That's what we like to hear. And you say the two Logics guys are really quick at the moment. We've got an interview coming up with their team boss shortly. Obviously, they've come into this league, and along with you on the same race, they joined actually at the same time. I believe it was the Brazilian, no, so it was the Australian race, wasn't it? And basically they just run away with it since they joined. Obviously, you guys have been up there as well, pretty much towards the podium end of the field. This gap today is pretty huge from behind Schumacher to Paresis. Where do you see your teammate fitting in? Obviously, he's in 5th position currently, looking pretty strong. He's not far off the podium pace.
Yeah, I think our race pace is stronger than our qualifying pace. Both of us come from a short oval background rather than a circuit background. So when it comes to setting up the car, we're a bit at sea at the moment. But I think we're getting better with every race. We found some extra pace for this one. But it's the first race really since we've joined the league that's been on what I would call a traditional type circuit. I know it's a street circuit, but the last 2 races have been all about high speeds and drafting, and so I think that's why the gap's a bit bigger today.
Yeah, this is more of a technical circuit, isn't it? That's for sure. So obviously, a setup means a lot. Driving style can really affect it, and I think that's why, like you say, we're seeing the gaps today. Schumacher's done a good job, though. I'm really impressed by him to jump in and go that quick straight away. He's picked it up pretty quick. But Aaron, obviously, if you want to jump up for an interview before the race or anything, the pre-race thoughts, anything like that, or during the race, after the sprint race, that is. Sorry, after the feature race, which is the first one tonight. Feel free, you just pop into the green groove and we'll drag you up, mate. So thank you very much for coming up here and giving us your insight.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Good luck in the race.
Cheers, thanks, Lee.
And that's pretty much it for the qualifying session. We've got the last few guys coming across the line now, and we will bring any second. We'll bring the team boss of the Logics EV Racing team, because it looks like, in fact, they have now. We're just make sure Schumacher isn't going to improve, and definitely not on this lap. He's well down in sector 1, as you can see. But David Gaspers takes the pole position. We'll give a quick rundown of the qualifying order in a second. In fact, we'll do that now, actually, before we get the interview going. David Gaspers has gone fastest in qualifying on 28.0. He did 1 lap. Well, 2 laps, but his first lap would have been good enough for 4th on the grid anyway. He basically did 1 hot lap, 1 main run, 28.0, puts him on the pole position by 2/10 from his teammate Benjamin Zirk. So the two Logics EV guys, 1st and 2nd. Martin Schumacher 3rd, doing a great job for Innovision. Jim Paresis 4th. Robin Van Brenk for the UK SOM team. Ari Nyman and Torrent Motorsport 6th position. Riku Sarpilla 7th. Adrian McNaughton 8th. James Ross, great job up in 9th position. Really impressed by that. David Junt up in 10th, obviously the winner of the sprint race at Katiba, the last round we had 2 weeks ago. In fact, the positions have just changed. David Junt's just come across the line, so there were people still on hot laps there. David Junt's just come across the line and improved to a 29.9, which puts him up into 8th position. And McNaughton also jumped up to 9th position there, in front of James Ross. So James Ross has gone down to 10th position. Chris Gray 11th, John McLean 12th, I have a Bass 13th. Obviously, I'm getting that grid penalty, but down to 18th. Marek Skronowski. Marek really well down compared to where he usually is, actually. Pretty surprised by that. I'm not quite sure if he's had the practice, but he's 2.3 seconds off the pole, so not quite sure what's going on there with Marek as such. I'm sure we'll find out. Alec Rolls 15th, Scott Bennett down in 16th, but very close to the top 10 again, only half second. Daniel McMahon for Tiger Express 17th, Nick Phillips 18th, Jeff Mead, who basically said his one ambition during this race is to beat Wesley Morris, and so far he's done that in qualifying because he's 2 positions ahead of him. Miles Dixon separates him in 20th, so Miles having a poor race as well, unfortunately, so far. Dale Stone's 20 seconds. Andy Oakley, who's stepping in tonight at Wicked Fox, I believe this is his first race, on a 32.2, and he's the last qualifier. Aaron Maspero obviously will start 24th, so not being able to set a time after what we heard, the problem we had. We have Kevin Vestphal, the team boss of the Logics EV Racing team. He'll probably tell me I pronounce his name wrong, as I usually do, so I'll bring him up here any second. Here he comes. No, he doesn't. That was something else. There, we currently have Kevin in the channel now with us, obviously the Logics EV Racing team boss. Welcome to the box, Kevin, and I'm sure you're pretty proud of what's just gone off in the qualifying session there. A 1-2 on the grid.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm really excited about the results. Place 1 and 2. It's really great. So Gaspers, and in German it's called Serche, but Zirk it's okay. They are both really fast, and that's nice to see.
So Zirka, I should pronounce it Zirka.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, we'll do it like that. What about your name? Have I said your name correct, or is that a mistake
Kevin
as well?
Westphal, it's okay.
That's great. Okay, that's cleared that one up. That's 2 names tonight I've pronounced wrong already, so it's going really well, this broadcast. So.
No, it's fine.
Thank you for joining us anyway, Kevin. Obviously it's really great to have the I presume you're the team boss, yeah?
Yes, I'm the lead manager from the racing team, but not from the Logix EV at all. So Logix EV is League of Legends and Counter-Strike, some other games too, from eSport.
Okay, so basically you're just sort of taking on the managerial role, the motivation role tonight, obviously helping Gaspers and Zerka. So it's obviously working, because first and second on the grid, so if you've got a contract for next year, or if you haven't got a contract, you will have soon, because I'm going to try and sign you up for next year, so...
I think they will stay.
Yes, definitely. But they're doing an awesome job up front, and we were just saying a minute ago to Maspero, obviously, since you guys came into the league, you've really stepped up the ante, let's say. I mean, everyone sort of had to respond to your pace. Your guys have come in and just totally annihilated it, what everyone was doing before, so you must be really proud.
Yeah, it's. I think it's our goal to be on that position. I mean, on the one hand, you got it's a game. You want to have fun, of course, but on the other hand, it's sim racing and it is esport. And you want to be one of the best, and you want to win, and to stay on this position since we joined this. It's really good. I'm proud of it, and I hope it take part maybe in the next season that we will be really that competitive again.
Yeah, I can't see it changing with the way them two are going tonight. Obviously, like you say, people seem to think that sometimes sim racing's a bit serious, and I would tend to agree with that sometimes. I mean, I get really hot-headed and heated sometimes with it. But at the end of the day, it's competition. Like you say, you want to be the best, you want to be the fastest, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of people doing sim racing now. There's a lot of competition involved, a lot of leagues out there, like GPVWC. Obviously not as good, but a lot of people doing these broadcasts. You can always tune into simrace.tv and see something, you know, going on, whether it be NASCAR, GTs, LMP, anything. Obviously, there's a lot of competition out there, and as you say, you want to be the best. And I was going to ask you actually, have you done any driving yourself? Are you any good as a driver?
I'm driving also, but I'm not as fast as Gaspers or Zerka or some other drivers we have. So we got a new driver, it's Sebastian Rota, and he will be the driver if if Gaspers can't drive, and I think he will be fast enough to I can't drive that fast, so I'm just managing all the stuff, and they're doing the results.
But whatever you're doing with that team, it's having a great effect. Obviously, the 2 Logix guys currently out on track, you'll see on the left-hand side there, just as Jim Parisi's flashes past, practicing their starts dutifully, and they're doing it together. You really see that at Logix as well. That's one thing I did want to comment on. You see a lot of teamwork at Logix, and it's really paying off. I mean, like that, they practice the starts together. They're always in qualifying together, you know, to make sure that they've got the gap in qualifying to each other. They use each other's slipstream in qualifying. So you've really moulded the team well, you know, they've really worked together well, and it's showing, because I mean, last race there was a little hiccup obviously with Gaspers making that mistake, and it took Zerka out as well, which was a shame, because neither really deserved that, because they'd done all the hard work, they pulled away, and obviously it looks like today they're going to pull away up front as well. Schumacher might just hang on in the background, but I can't see Gaspers losing it today, or Zerka, to be honest, because the pace difference is unbelievable. They're so consistent. I mean, Gaspers went out and did one hot lap, and that was it.
They're doing quite fine together. I mean, there are 2 drivers in one team, so you're gonna have to do teamwork. You can do teamwork, so it would be stupid if you don't work together. Why you should do this? To be on the slipstream from a teammate is really necessary to be fast, and you got the option to do this. So that's how you work together, and that's a team play, and it's about like in football, other teams. If you're better in the team, if you work together, fine. If you go maybe it's not just team, it's a friendship. So if you work fine together, then it will be better than you're just a solo man who's driving in front.
Yeah, definitely. We were watching your guys now in this session, the warm-up session. Obviously, only 4 minutes to go until the race start, the feature race. And we're watching your guys at the moment. The feature race is 27 laps tonight, so I expect pit stops around lap 13. Maybe a bit earlier to jump position. Obviously, maybe later, as Maspero alluded to. He may run really late to try and jump some positions. obviously starting from the back, he's got nothing to lose. But we're currently watching the two Logics guys. We're looking back from David Gaspers, who's they're not really set any lap times yet. They're in 11th and 12th position, but like I said, they've been dutifully practicing their starts. And like you say though, you say it makes sense to work as a team, things like that, but we often see like a lot of team, we've never seen this sort of in-depth teamwork, let's say. I've never seen this for a long time, apart from maybe places like FSR, things like that, where the drivers will really work together like a proper team should. And you're watching these two now, they're always together on circuit, they're always working together well, so you know, that's what I'm saying, it's not only the lap times that you've really improved it, like to say the league in, moved it forward, you know, you've really brought this Formula Challenge League forward in lap time, but also this teamwork. People are looking at this now thinking that's what we've got to do to beat them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to be that kind now on the track and drive together is just to prepare and focus on the race. I mean, if they're quite fast, equal to each other, and so you can train to break them some kind later and go away from the other driver. But I have to say, tonight I just got a little bit bad feeling, because I know my drivers and they are always on the limit, and I think one of both will just hit the curb too hard. I don't want it, but I know my drivers, and they're always, if they are 10 seconds in front, they just will push, and yeah, I hope I don't happen, but I think someone will spin around, some kind of that.
Well, let's obviously hope that doesn't happen. But as you said, actually, Zerka, who was following Gaspers, actually hit a curb, I believe, then spun. So
you just saw it, yeah.
Yeah, so you basically jinxed it. So basically, don't think about it, and it won't happen, because you just talked about it, and then one of them spun. But as we were talking about it there, as Gaspers decides to go upside down after hitting a curb, obviously, you've really jinxed this now. This is really not going well for Logics anymore. But I was just about to say, as we were watching them on board, they went out, did one hot lap, and they've gone first and second straight away. So they've really got this one in the bag if they can, like you say, just stay off them curbs. But we've just seen both the cars, they're back together again now, but Gaspers was upside down a second ago. You're currently watching Martin Schumacher, who's third in this session, 8 tenths behind Gaspers currently. So
yeah, but he's really a nice driver. I think he got much potential. I like to see him. I mean, he is behind my two drivers, but he is fast in front of Perez's, and yeah, it's great to see such a fast driver here.
I mean, you must love the surname as well, obviously being German.
Schumacher?
Yeah.
Michael Schumacher is, yeah. That would be in German, yeah.
Definitely. So obviously tonight he's going to be the only challenge for you guys, I reckon. There's a massive gap. There's like a 1 second gap, and he does actually split your guys now on a 29.3. Obviously still 6 tenths off Gaspers. But he's the only guy who can really challenge you tonight, I reckon. The two Torrent Motorsports look pretty safe in 4th and 5th, and after that it's anyone really. So we're looking forward to a good race tonight. We've got 1 minute until this warm-up session ends, and then the race will begin. As you said, 27 laps. Probably one pit stop for everyone. A planned pit stop, that is, for one stop. Just looking down the field, no real surprises in the warm-up session. Everyone just practicing starts and so on. David jumped up in 6th position actually, so he's got good race pace, and he qualified in 8th position during the qualifying session, which was a good result for David. Obviously, we saw him win the Katiba race the other week, and he's looking pretty strong here as well. So
I think he's a sprint race. He just he started and won the race, right? I think he is really fast too.
Yeah, maybe not the fastest on the circuit, but he was very consistent, which is what winning the race. And Gaspers and Zerka just in front of Junt there. Both, one of them hit the curb again, I believe, there, and it just caused them both to spin. So your guys are really you're gonna have to go and give them a telling off before this race.
Yeah, I tell them off the time, but just move down and just say something that they don't spin.
Well, I mean, I can see obviously Martin Schumacher in your channel as well, so all three guys are in there in the TeamSpeak channel, working together quite well. And also, I was just going to say, if they want to come up for an interview any time, obviously during the race, in between the races, during the next warm-up session, anything like that, feel free to send them up as such. And yourself, if you want to pop up for another interview after the race one, feel free.
Yeah, I'm just offered on that.
As the race is about to begin, so I will let you get off and do your duties as team boss.
Yeah, I wish all competitors good luck, and yeah, have a nice race.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you very much for joining us as well. Really good to hear your insight there as well. Look forward to hearing more from you later.
Okay, bye, Lee.
Catch you later. That was Kevin Westphal, the team, well, let's say acting team manager of Logix EV Racing, who are on form today, that's for sure. Nice to have more people doing the interviews as well. If anyone else wants an interview, or if anyone's got any suggestions, comments during the race, please feel free to get them in. As we say, it's always great to have more stuff to talk about. So this is it. The race director has announced it. As you can probably hear in the background, we are now moving to the race session. Some great cameras around this circuit as well. You can really see there the whole grid, which is going to be one thing. And the turn 1 camera stays on for a long time, so you can really see what's happening down the field today. Qualifying times on the bottom of the screen for you if you want to find out where your favourite driver is. Obviously we'll run down the field as the warm-up gets underway. Slight positions with the grid by the looks of it, so it's problems with the grid, sorry. I have a Vass. Oh, he's 18th because he's got a penalty actually, so that is a proper good position for IHAB. He probably didn't know he had the penalty. But the warm-up gets underway. As you can see, the camera stays on a long time, so you can really see the entire field. So it's David Gasper's pole position for the Logix EV Racing team. Benjamin Zerker, 2nd position. Martin Schumacher, 3rd. Jim Paresis, 4th position. Robin van Brenk, 5th position. Harry Nyman, 6th. Riku Sarpilla doing a great job up in 7th position. David Junt, 8th. Adrian McNaughton, 9th. And James Ross rounds out the top 10. After that, we have Chris Gray, John McLean, Marek Skronowski in 13th. Alex Rolls, 14th. Scott Bennett in 15th. Daniel McNahon, in 16th position. Nick Phillips, 17th. I have a Bath, 18th after that penalty we just seen. Jeff Mead, 19th. Miles Dixon, 20th. Wesley Morris in 21st. Phil Stones, 22nd. Andy Oakley in his first race in 23rd. And Aaron Maspero starts from the back. We'll quickly have a look at Aaron. Maybe not, the cameras have gone. There we go, there's Aaron Maspero. He's right at the back of the field, so he's got a lot of work to do from there, but as he said, he's going to give it his all. And we will see what he can do. But the leaders, as you can see, are already rounding the final few corners now. Gasper's desperately trying to get heat into his tyres. Zerker's had an incident somewhere. Zerker, the second of the Logix EV guys, who's supposed to be in 2nd position. He's currently well down the field in, I believe, 9th position or something. He's well down the field at the moment. As you can see there, he's trying to get back through the field now. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to him, but he's down in about 9th or 10th. I think that's James Ross just in front of him. No, it's James Ross just behind. It's Adrian McNaughton just in front. So Zerker's had a problem there. I'm sure he will resume his 2nd position. Maybe hit one of the curbs too hard. As you can see, Gasper's coming into the grid now, just warming his tyres up. That's Schumacher we're looking at the back from. Gasper hits his grid slot, and you can see now into position comes Robin van Brenk. That's Jim Paresis on the left. He needs to go for one more slot, that's right. Now Zerk will come down the middle, there he is. Zerk will come down the middle. It's going to be quite difficult to park this actually, because there's not much room. Doing a good job so far. Let's hope he doesn't do a Fisichella. And he's got it in position quite well actually, so there's a good job from Zerker. And you can see in the background the last few cars coming into position. So the 2012 GPVWC Formula Challenge, brought to you by simrace.tv, sponsored by Ultranet Networks. 27 laps is about to get underway. The grid is now lined up. The lights will be on shortly. There's a very long hole, to be fair. The lights are only just going on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 4th light is on. When they go out, it will be go, and it's go. And a great start from Zerk. He gets a really good start off the line there. You see Benjamin Zerk takes the lead into turn 1. We'll keep an eye on what's happening in the background. The camera should go to a wide-angled camera now. There we go. Let's see in the background what happens. It's going to be quite messy, I presume. So far clean, though, surprisingly. And they've all got round by the looks of it. No spinners so far. And we're safely through. And it is Benjamin Zerker who leads the way from his teammate David Gaspers. Now, these two will just shoot off, I'm sure. In the background, there's a spinner. That looks like one of the... Yes, it was. It was Miles Dixon for Velocity Racing spun in the background there. He's down to 24th now. Scott Bennett involved as well in something there. He's 23rd. We'll go back through the field a little bit, see if they see any action there. There was quite a bit of shuffling going on for the midfield. We're trying to settle it down, hopefully, and see what's going off. Big scrap here for That's 9th position. That's Adrian McNaughton with a queue behind him there of cars. They're all fighting for position. In fact, Van Brent's got a good start. Van Brent is up to 3rd position. He's got behind him there. That's Jim Priest, Martin Schumacher just behind him. So Schumacher's dropped back. The only man who I thought could challenge the 2 Logics guys today has dropped right back into 5th position. And he's got a lot of work to do now if he wants to get back up on terms with the 2 Logics guys, as Jim Priest is closing right up onto the rear wing of Robin Van Brenk. Van Brenk goes very wide and he's going to have to go across the grass there. It's going to be very close to the tyre barrier. He just misses it. Jim Priest takes advantage, goes around the outside. This will give Schumacher a run. Will Schumacher launch it up the inside? Yes, he will. And Schumacher goes through as well there. So a mistake from Van Brenk, which lets 2 cars through. Although Van Brenk is trying to retaliate on the exit there. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. So the first lap, Zerk leads. He goes across the line. The lead is 1.7 seconds from Gaspers to Jim Paresis. Gaspers looking like he's quite comfortable behind his teammate at the moment. You see in the background, that's Paresis, Schumacher, Brenk. And behind that there's all sorts of change of positions. In 6th position, Harry Nyman, and now who's that going around the outside? That's David Junt going around the outside there. David Junt's just going around the outside. That's David Junt on our inside now. He will have the position for this corner, but he will have the more acute exit, which should give Nyman the exit. But Junt keeps his throttle on nicely for there, so good job from David Junt there. That was a great pass. So it's Zerk, Gaspers, Paresis, Schumacher, Brenk, Junt, Nyman, which we're watching there. Adrian McNaughton just in the background from this. Still enough a train of cars by the looks of it. There he is. That's John McLean there in 9th position, who's also had a good start. Marek up to 11th. No retirement so far. Everyone's still running. So this is a great start to the race for everyone. It's Zerk still leading from Gaspers, Paresis 3rd, Schumacher 4th, Van Brenk trying to retaliate in 5th position. We'll look at Van Brenk on board with me. He's in the slipstream of Schumacher in front. Schumacher needs to get on with this if he wants to challenge the 2 cars who are now going to dominate this race, I believe. You can see them just in the distance there, peeling off. Although Paresis isn't doing a bad job, to be fair, he's actually hanging on at the moment. They're not pulling away just yet, perhaps just settling into a rhythm. Junt's in 6th position, Nyman in 7th, as we've seen before. Adrian McNaughton holding off a queue of cars. We'll have to keep an eye on that battle in a minute, because there's a fair few cars involved in that there. Jeff Mead also involved in that there, so Jeff's had a good start. He's up to 14th position. He's got Sarpiller, so Riku Sarpiller's had a terrible start. And Zerka sets the fastest lap of the race. He's got a 7/10 lead over his teammate now, so doing a good job there. Schumacher locking the brakes a little bit there. He's gone very wide. That allows Van Brenk to get alongside, but Schumacher had the exit speed there, so he couldn't do anything about it. Big battle in the background, McNaughton for 8th position. We're going to have a quick look at this. Look at the train of cars behind McNaughton there. They're all behind him, just sat behind him. From 8th position down to 23rd is 9 seconds. The cars are just stacked together. Paresis is still 3rd, Schumacher 4th, and someone spun. That's Van Brenk has spun. Van Brenk is down to 13th position. Van Brenk's had a problem, and he's now in this battle as well. And something's just happened on screen there as well. That's one of the cars. Who's that's just spun there? We've got Chris Gray who's at the lead of this queue now. We're watching Chris Gray in 8th position. Something drastic happened there while I was taking a look at Van Brenk. And who's that off? That's a few cars off there. I'm not quite sure. That's James Ross, who had a great qualifying. He's down now to 21st position. He's spun there, so it's getting a bit messy in the midfield. So we got Zerk up front from Gaspers, who leads, Paresis, Schumacher, them 4 are safe. Nyman in 5th, David Junt in 6th, right on the back of him. McNaughton, who's now escaped this gaggle of cars. And who's that there? That's someone else off. Chris Gray, 8th position. We're watching Chris Gray now in 8th position. In the background, he's got Robin Van Brenk there, who's spun round. John McLean maybe hit the curb. And then there you got, that's Alex Rolls trying to get, that's Wesley Morris. Where's Wes come from? In fact, where's Wes going? Because he's about to pass him. There's a slight contact there, and Jeff Mead's going to get involved. There's a slight contact there. They managed to sort it out. That's Merritt Skonowski. We're looking back now from Alex Rolls, and you've got a 3-car train there, and they're all friends. They've got Jeff Mead, Skonowski, and Wesley Morris going into turn 1. What's going to happen now? And they've managed to get through safely. Jeff Mead takes advantage and goes up to 12 brakes. Very late though, and that's going to be contact. Jeff Mead there, and he's caused quite an accident behind there. There's quite a few cars piling off behind. So Jeff Mead there braked way too late for turn 1, and that's caused a couple of incidents there. I'm sure a penalty will be applied for that. He's taken out 2 or 3 cars there, unfortunately for Jeff. And after he made a good start as well. Got Bennett in a massive gaggle of cars behind as well. Just keeping an eye on the leaders, make sure that hasn't changed. The 2 leaders still pulling away. Jim Paresis is 3rd, Schumacher 4th, Nyman and he's 5th with Junt still over the back of him. We'll quickly have a look at this. It's great to see some action further down the field. Normally we stick to the up front action, but today there's plenty going on down the midfield as well. You're looking back from Nyman, who's 5th position. Big gap to Schumacher, who's the next man in front of Nyman, and it's nearly 5 seconds now, so And McNaughton's caught up onto the back of that as well, so McNaughton's got some good pace there. Van Brink back up to 8th position after that unfortunate spin. Just looking further down the field now, Alex Rolls and Skronowski for 12th position are pretty much side by side. Skronowski's got the inside line, that's Rolls on our outside now. Skronowski will take the position though, or will he? Rolls trying to fight this position. That's a great move from Rolls there to defend that position. I didn't expect him to try that one, but he did, and it paid off. Skronowski's trying to go around the outside though, and we're going to watch this live. And he's trying it, he's got the power one earlier, and he's done it. So Skronowski drives completely around the outside of Alex Rolls there. So it's from one great move to another. I think Ahabas is still in the pits actually. It looks like James Ross, Ahabas, and Daniel I can never say that name properly. Mukkanen, we'll call it Mukkanen, that sounds right. Daniel Mukkanen, 22nd, Ahabas 23rd, James Ross 24th. They're all a lap down now, so it looks like they've had some issues unfortunately. We saw a bit of contact a few laps ago involving Jeff Wes and so on. Two leaders getting very close together now, so I expect a battle there soon. Gaspers looks like he's trying to get past. As Jim Paresis in 3rd position has got Schumacher crawling onto the back of him. We're looking back from now from Jim Paresis. That is Schumacher who conceded 2 Logics guys getting away. It's now 3.7 seconds the gap, and he wants to do something about it, and he's going to have to do it soon unfortunately, because they've almost got this race in the bag at this point in time. And again, we did say that in Katiba, and look what happened. Big battle going on for 15th position as well. We'll quickly have a look at this. This is looking back from Scott Bennett, who's in 15th. He's got Aaron Maspero just behind him, who's coming through the field obviously from that back of the grid start. He's up to 16th, and he tries down the inside there, just gets out of it at the last minute, locks the inside wheel. Andy Oakley just on the back of this as well. He's having a good race. From Riku Sarpilla, who's having a complete disaster, who's down in 18th position from his, I think he was 7th on the grid. Nick Phillips just on the back of this as well. Wes has dropped off to the back of this one unfortunately. He's well down the pack. And that's a very wide line there. That was Andy Oakley there, getting very wide. 2 leaders still Zerk and Gaspers. Jim Paresis is 3rd, still got Schumacher over the back of him, but can't really do anything about it. We'll quickly switch to that, because there may be a pass going on here. Oh, Schumacher's got a poor run off the corner. Will he launch it down the inside? I don't think he will. He's pretty sensible, Schumacher. He knows his racecraft, that's for sure. Nyman in 5th. Junt still in 6th position. Can't do anything about Nyman in front of him, despite looking like he has the quicker car. And who's that? That's one of the Logics guys. David Gaspers has spun, or he's had a spin. And we did get this prediction from his team boss that unfortunately he expects one of them to spin, and it's cost him once again, David Gaspers. Fastest man on track, but once again he's made a mistake. This is 2 races in a row now, and it's cost him because his teammate now has a 5-second lead. It's not all over yet though, we still have 22 laps to go, don't forget. And this is going to create a great three-way scrap now for that 2nd position now. Zerk has got this one in the bag. He's currently 4 seconds in front. If he can just keep it on the track, he should pull away from these two. And Nyman still together, McNaughton, and that's McNaughton spinning on the exit of one of the corners there. That's going to let a heap of cars by. He's going to drop from 7th right down to 10th now. Marek Skronowski's back in to 11th now. Good recovery drive so far. Jeff Mead battling with Miles Dixon. We can look what the closest battle on track is at the moment. They've got Chris Gray and John McLean very close together. Jeff Mead has a spin, unfortunately. Jeff Mead has spun round with Riku Sarpilla as well. Riku Sarpilla's having an absolute mare. He's now down to 19th position and another spin. This is really not going to impress him as a driver, I'm sure, because he was well up inside the top 10. He's very quick. He's really struggling to get back through the pack. Chris Gray's having a good race in 8th position, doing a great job there. Still no retirements in this race though, so we're still all cars going as Wesley Morris now pits. He's now 22nd, a lap down. You're still looking at this developing battle, let's say, for 2nd position. You see now Gasper's right on the back of Schumacher and trying to go up the inside there. That's not going to work. But we'll look from Jim Paresis' view, because he's got Schumacher all over the back of him. You'll have to see this in his mirrors. The gap now to Zerka is 5 seconds almost, so Paresis can no longer see Zerka in front of him. But he can certainly see Schumacher and Gaspers behind, and Gaspers got a great run up that previous corner. He's right on the back of Schumacher, but in turn Schumacher's got a good slipstream on us. We're on board with Jim Paresis, and Jim Paresis feels he needs to go defensive. Does so, keeps it to one move there. Very tight driving there for Jim, obviously trying to hold his 2nd position. Schumacher gets very close and there's contact there. He did tap the rear end there. That lets Gaspers through, but mistake from Schumacher lets Gaspers through. Trying slightly too hard there. Now what can Gaspers do about Jim Paresis? The pace advantage he has over him is almost a second a lap, so it shouldn't be long before he does get past. And Junt's got past Nyman for 5th position. Obviously we didn't see that on screen because of what's going on here, but Junt has passed Nyman for 5th position. Let's see if he can get onto the paces leaders now, because he did look like a quicker car. Van Brenk 7th position, Chris Gray 8th, Marek Skonowski up into 9th position. That is very unexpected. Didn't expect to see him there. Adrian McNaughton 10th, Alex Rolls 11th, John McLean 12th, Miles Dixon 13th, Scott Bennett 14th, Aaron Maspero up to 15th now. Still not progressing as fast as you expect, I would have thought. Andy Oakley 16th, having a decent first outing. Nick Phillips 17th, Jeff Mead after a few spins is down to 18th, Riku Sarpilla. In fact, we'll probably not even want to mention his name anymore because I'm sure he's seething. Dale Stone's down in 20th. And the rest of the guys are all lapped currently as Jim Priest runs slightly wide there, which allows Gaspers to get somewhat alongside. And if he wants any chance of winning this race, he's got to get after them. But you can see Schumacher's got the run off the chicane there. Schumacher was better off that chicane because Gaspers got slightly balked, but Gaspers sets it up for the exit nicely there. Nice switchback from Gaspers. You could see that one coming. He just stuck it to the right hand side and basically got off the throttle, got off the brakes, then just jumped on the throttle on the exit, and look what happened. He just sent him up there. So great move from Gaspers there to recover that. He got slightly balked off the previous chicane, and it cost him quite a bit of lap time. And Junt has flown past Nyman, and Junt he's really got some pace here. He's now 2 seconds in front of Nyman already. So Junt in 5th position, looking like he's well, he could even catch these few if they start battling. That's what it is. 9 seconds behind him at the moment. 8 seconds make that. And Gaspers has got a great run here as we're going to turn 1, but I don't think he'll be able to do anything with it. We're approach attack there. Gaspers did actually touch. Reese's lost that. He carried too much apex speed into turn 1, and that's what happens. Now obviously that allowed Schumacher passed into 2nd position again, so Gaspers has got to pass Schumacher for the 3rd time in 3 laps. He made quite easy meet of him in the first few attempts. Let's see what he can do this time. But this is costing him because the gap to the lead is now 7 seconds. So Zerka, if he has no mistakes, he's got this one in the bag. But David Junt was just saying a minute ago, might catch these guys. He has caught Jim Paresis obviously after that spin. Perhaps not in the way he expected, but he's now only 1 second behind Jim Paresis. So if he's got the pace, maybe he can do something with it now, because he's after Jim Paresis' mistake, this allows David Junt right onto the back of him. Marek Skonowski and Adrian McNaughton are very close together for 9th position. We'll quickly take a look at that in a minute, just to make sure nothing happens with this battle. We're looking forward facing now from David Gaspers. What can you do about Schumacher? He's got to get past him soon if he wants any chance of catching his teammate. Zerka's stuck in traffic at the moment actually, so this is his chance if he wants to do anything about it. But Schumacher looks like he's holding his own quite well at the moment. Van Brenk closing onto the back of Nyman now for that 6th position. Chris Gray up in 8th position, all on his own at the moment, having a good solid race there. Marek Skonowski 9th, as we say, under pressure from McNaughton. Alex Rolls up in 11th, also under pressure from John McLean, so they're having a good old scrap down the field. Scott Bennett is trying to defend from Maspero. And I've missed some action once again because Schumacher looks like he lost it into turn 1 there. But you will have seen that. You were on board with David Gaspers, so you'll have seen exactly what happened to Schumacher there. And that's led him through to 2nd position. So Gaspers, it's now a Logix EV Racing Team 1-2 again. Now that battle's concluded, we'll switch down the field because Alex Rolls in 11th position. You see there, he's just defending from John McLean very heavily, and in the background there, that's Maspero, and Maspero's taken the position. It was Maspero in 14th position now. Just taken the position from Scott Bennett. Scott Bennett trying to retaliate. That's very close through there. Scott Bennett will have the better exit as Maspero had the tighter corner through the apex. Will Scott lunge down the inside? He's certainly thinking about it, but he decided not to. Maspero now up to 14th position, not making the progress we expected though, still only in 14th position, 40 seconds off the race leader. Out for 11th is hotting up. John McLean passes Alex Rolls, but Alex Rolls has got the better run off the corner. And I'm sure Alex Rolls will have a go into this next left-hander, but will McLean see it coming? McLean's better off just letting him go. He doesn't, he tries to fight it on the outside, and I'm sure that's not going to work out. Rolls has got the inside line again now for the next corner, but has he got the top speed though? We can't see at the moment. There's the front wing end plate of Alex Rolls, who does have the inside line as I thought for this next left-hander. He has got the top speed. John McLean is better not to fight this. He's better off letting him go and then just sitting in his slipstream now for the remainder of the lap. Exactly what he does. Get the tighter line off the corner. Make it shallow on the exit now, and he should get a run down into turn 1, but can he do anything with it? Got the run, but I don't think he's going to close up fast enough, unfortunately, because turn 1's a very fast apex, and you've got to be in front before you get there to try any sort of overtake into that corner. Zerka leads from 5.9 seconds, and Schumacher's got past Gaspers again, so we're going to stick with these two because we're trying to provide you with all the action, but we're missing the main action because Gaspers now has it all to do once again. He's got Schumacher in front of him, so these two have passed each other at least 4 or 5 times now. Van Brink has Nyman in his sights for that 6th position. If you look back from Nyman, and that's Van Brink just behind us there, so I expect to see Van Brink get past him soon. First retirement is Dale Stones with suspension failure for Waterblue Racing. So it took 10 laps, but we do have a retirement now at last, so that's unfortunate for Dale Stones there. Not having a very good race though, to be fair to him. The Nyman holds his line, doesn't actually change any line there, but Van Brink in the background saying let me through, I'm faster. And they give a battle for 2nd position. He's really hotting up as Gaspers has gone to the inside into turn 1 and he tries it and he takes it. So very brave from Gaspers there. We're looking forwards from Schumacher. And they swap positions about 4 or 5 times now in the last 5 laps. So these two are having a good old ding dong here. 5.7 seconds is the gap to Zerka, who's not really pulling away to be fair at the moment, but he has had quite a lot of traffic to contend with in the last few laps. Schumacher's got the run off the corner, but he can't do anything with it. It's too far back to the braking zone. And now we approach the same traffic that Zerka's had to lap. So Zerka looks like he's got a lot of clear traffic in front of him now. The first pit stop should be coming up very soon. We've only got 60 laps to go now. We'd expect in the next few laps, unless someone's trying to do a zero stopper, which I'm not sure will be possible. Looks like David Junt's had some issues in 5th position because he's now behind Nyman, and he's got Van Brink crawling over the back of him, so David Junt's had some issues, which is a shame. He was 6 seconds slower in the last lap, so definitely some issues for David Junt there. I'm going to quickly leave you with this battle for 2nd position while I take a quick comfort break. We're back in 2 seconds. And I'm back live. Obviously you've just seen the overtaking once again. Gaspers takes the 2nd position. I just caught that as I walked in the room there, so this is a fantastic scrap for 2nd position. I bet Zerk's loving this because he's having no pressure from behind. He's just cruising along and these two are doing all the work for him. Jim Paresis in 4th position, R09 in 5th. Great battle there as well for 5th position. Junt trying to retaliate on the outside. There you see Junt launches it down the outside. I'm not sure if that'll work, but he will get the run off the corner if he does this properly. If he gets these curbs properly, he will get a run off the corner, but Nyman has done a good job off the exit there. Gasper's still holding that 2nd position. We've got Schumacher crawling over the back of him. They're actually closing slightly. And Zerk spun. Zerk has spun. So now this is a three-way scrap for the lead. Gaspers takes the lead. And this allows Schumacher pass as well. So, and what's happened to Zerk? Was he going in the pits trying to select something? He's in the pit lane now and he's crashed. What's happened to Benjamin Zerk? Benjamin Zerk is having some real issues here. We'll switch to the battle for the lead because this allows Gaspers into lead but Schumacher into 2nd. So once again for Logic's EV Racing, it's gone all wrong. They had a brilliant qualifying, 1-2 on the grid, dominant, and then come race day, that's it. Once again, they lose the momentum. So it's Gaspers leading from Martin Schumacher in 2nd, in Jim Paresis in 3rd position, David Junt 4th, Robin Van Brink 5th, Harry Neyman's in the pits as well, Chris Gray goes through into 6th position, Benjamin Zerka we saw in the pit lane as well, Adrian McNaughton also in the pit lane, 9th position. Benjamin Zerka is out of this race, he's decided to retire, obviously too much damage on that car. That is unbelievable. I can't believe that Benjamin's thrown that one away. Whatever happened, it looked very strange what happened on pit entry though. Maybe he had some sort of problems with the car or wheel problem. Scott Bennett goes through as well. There's get a lot of guys in the pits at the moment. Maspero goes through obviously into 11th position. He's running quite long. Now this has handed an opportunity to Schumacher here. He didn't expect to win this race, I'm sure, but he's right on the back. And Gaspers gets very sideways there. So these two feeling the pressure. Zerka's already made the mistake, and now Schumacher pressuring Gaspers. He's not been able to get away from Schumacher. Every time he's passed him, Schumacher's redone it and repassed him into turn 1, turn 2. And you see Schumacher closing it very fast there. He's got a lot. He's very good in the braking, isn't he, Schumacher? So the Logic CV guys, from having a great qualifying, are really struggling in this race to show the ultimate performance. And Gaspers takes to the pit lane. This allows Schumacher through into the lead. Gaspers safely enters the pit lane, unlike his teammate. Schumacher goes through into the lead. Jim Paris is third. Will he pit this time by? No, he doesn't. He goes through. David Junt also, we're looking in 4th position. Having another solid race, actually. He's just in front of Robin Van Brenk. He looks like he's going to stay out as well. He does indeed. Van Brenk in the background does pit. Chris Gray in 6th position. John McLean 7th. Marek Skanowski up in 8th position, on the back of John McLean, actually, as we look at it. The closest cars on track now. Marek looking for a way past, and Marek's front nose looks very bent, that's for sure. So he's had some contact somewhere as well. So from a very clean start, it's getting very scrappy now in the midfield. We have a few retirements as well now. We have Wesley Morris, who's also out, and Benjamin Zerko, as we saw, obviously having that incident in the pit lane. A real shame for him. Gaspers came out in 5th position. He's right on the back of Chris Gray. Needs to get by him as soon as possible, because this is handing the initiative to Schumacher, who's still out in track and still in clean air. And Chris Gray defends, so Chris Gray not wanting to see position, but that tight line will give him a poor exit off this corner. This allows, but don't forget, Gaspers is on cold tyres, so he will struggle to pass these cars. And I'm sure Schumacher will pit this lap, because he's got, he will have a couple of seconds lead, I'm sure of it, because at the moment Gaspers is really getting held up, but Chris Gray's made a mistake. Chris Gray's gone wide. This is going to be close though, because Chris Gray cedes position there. Sensible driving there from Chris Gray. He knew he'd lost that position. Schumacher, will he pit? Schumacher, yes he does. Schumacher takes to the pit lane, so now we need to watch where Gaspers is and how long it takes him to get to Schumacher. He's lost a few seconds in that battle there. Jim Paris, I also expect to pit this lap, and Jim Paris does come in the pit lane. There he is. David Junt in 3rd position. Will he pit? Will he lead a lap of this race, actually? Comes on the final corner, and David Junt is going to lead a lap, because Schumacher and Paris are in the pit lane. David Junt comes through, and he's going to cross the line. He's going to lead this lap. David Gaspers coming around the final corner now. This is the battle we want to watch though. David Gaspers, there he is, on board with him now as we're coming to turn 1. Schumacher still hasn't left the pit, so Schumacher, he leaves the pits now. But he's got a long way to go, and that allows Gaspers straight back through into the lead. So poor pit stop there from Schumacher. That's cost him a lot of time. Once again, we saw this in the Super Cup last week. There goes Gaspers, and you see Schumacher only just coming down the pit lane there, so that's cost him a lot of time there. Jim Paris is also in the pits as he comes out in 4th position. Marek Skanowski running long as usual in 5th position. Aaron Maspero, as we know, probably running long as well in 6th at the moment. R09 is down in 7th position. Got Van Brenk just behind him as the positions tried to sort themselves out. Chris Gray's pitted from the 4th position he was in a moment ago. David Junt leads the way. We'll quickly give him some airtime. For the second race in succession, David Junt leads. Obviously yet to do his pit stop, but it's an impressive feat nonetheless, and he will come out somewhere near Jim Paris in 4th position, I would have thought. Gaspers has quite a big lead on Schumacher. A good 4 or 5 seconds, I would have thought. Nick Phillips has also retired now, unfortunately. For Pinnacle Motorsports. The battle for the lead is pretty much ended at the moment, because Gaspers is... he really had a much quicker pit stop. Just looking at the outlaps here, 36.6 for Schumacher, and Gaspers was 36.2. So what's happened there then? So has something else happened on the circuit? Actually, this is Schumacher's outlap now, to be fair, so we'll see what time it is this time around, and we can do a comparison then. Junt still leads. Junt does not pit, and Junt goes through. Gaspers goes through now. We'll see his first lap out. 29.9 for Gaspers. Schumacher just behind, and that's where Schumacher lost it, you see. He had a 36.6 for some reason, so not quite sure what's going on there with the times, but that's where he lost the 6 seconds. That's a real shame, because Schumacher was having a good go there at Gaspers, and Gaspers didn't have it all his own way as we expected. Jim Paris is 4th, Marek Skanowski still running in 5th position, Aaron Maspero yet to pit, Harry Nyman has pitted in 7th position, so he will jump a few positions. Robin Van Brenk going very wide into turn 1 there, Riku Sarpella up in 9th. Cars all spread out after the pit stops. All the cars that were together are now spread out. Obviously just waiting for the last few cars to pit now, and we'll see the true race form. A bit mixed up at the moment. So Junt, will he pit this lap? He's getting plenty of airtime here. And he deserves it because he's driving fabulously lately. Will he peel right this time? Doesn't look like it. No, once again he stays out with only 11 laps to go. Now we speculate this very often about zero stoppers and so on. I'm not sure it'd be possible around here, but Junk could prove us wrong. He's currently leading this race by 8.2 seconds. Gaspers is pulling in, reeling him in really quickly actually, to be fair to him. And probably would catch him at that sort of pace. Gap is now 7.7. At that time round, Gaspers was lapping nearly, well, he was 1.1 seconds faster that time round, so Gaspers will reel him in at that rate anyway, but has Jump played a blinder and gone for a zero stop? Or is he just running extremely long? No other battles on circuit at the moment. It's all dulled down after the pit stops, unfortunately, but I'm sure it'll... Jeff Mead just spun once again, unfortunately. He's now a lap down on the leaders. Real shame for Jeff, because he was going well early on in the laps. I'm sure he's got some car damage. Nyman and Sarpilla are very close together, but Sarpilla yet to pit. So it's not really a true battle of position. Nonetheless, we may as well take a look at it, because it's the only battle on track at the moment. Looking back from Nyman, you see Sarpilla in the background there. Andy Oakley up in 11th position actually at the moment. He's yet to pit as well. Having a good run. Gap down to 6.8 for the lead. Will Jump pit this time by. Gaspers can almost see him now at the end of the straight. And the battle for this 8th position, Sarpilla has gone clean round the outside. So Sarpilla with a lot more confidence there has just gone clean round the outside of Nyman in there. Didn't expect that one. Junt doesn't pit again, so only 9 laps to go now, and Junt crosses the line now. There we go, Junt crosses the line now. This is going to give Nyman the run off the corner because Sarpilla's got very scruffy in front of us, and Sarpilla's going to lose that. Sarpilla does spin it into the wall, slight contact there. So Nyman takes a position back. This allows Chris Gray onto the back of Sarpilla as well, just behind. But the battle's starting to come alive again now. Chris Gray gets very leery off the corner there, running all the curb he can get away with. And grass as well. The Junt leads from Gaspers, and Schumacher in 3rd position. Spawn, I've just seen, we've seen this live as well. What happened there? Was that another curb incident? But Schumacher's also had a curb incident in 3rd position. He's just spun and hit the curbs. But we just saw on board there, that was Sarpilla who had a massive shunt there. We saw that on board, the rear end of the car just went up in the air. It's very confusing to see what's going on in this race at the moment, but Schumacher just had a big spin, that puts him out of play. Jim Parisi's now has a sniff of a podium just in the background. A couple of guys pitting now this lap. Sarpilla came in that lap time right, obviously a lot of damage after that incident. David Junt, we'll see if he continues again. David Junt, there he is, running the final few corners now. Is he coming in this time by? He's taking a wide line, but it's only a wide line for the apex, because once again David Junt carries on. Got a 6.4 second lead and only 8 laps to go now. Is he staying out and is he doing a zero stop? If he took this win it'd be absolutely superb, to be fair, but I've got to see him coming in the pits. He can't go the whole way on a zero stop surely. But there are a few guys out there who still haven't pitted. Marek Skonowski in 5th position still hasn't pitted. Aaron Maspero 6th. He hinted to running long. He didn't hint to doing a zero stop, but maybe he's played a wild card. Riku Sarpilla was retired from this race unfortunately, so obviously the damage suffered in that incident we saw live on board was too much. Just waiting to see now if the two guys, and Chris Gray has taken Harry Nyman for 8th position. So that Chris Gray's just gone on the inside in the previous corner there. Nice move from Chris Gray, and he's really driving well at the moment. He was inside the top 10 before his pit stop, and he's back inside the top 10 now. Nyman's really struggling since he came out of the pits. I'm not quite sure what's happened to him, but he's just dropped further and further back down the field. Obviously we've seen him involved in some incidents, but nothing that's really costing that much lap time, but maybe he's struggling with the car. I noticed a minute ago, go on board with him actually. He was having to hold the wheel to the left going down the straight, so it looks like he's got some sort of suspension damage. We'll see on this next straight now. See if he holds the wheel to a slanted angle. Yeah, he has. He's got suspension damage on that car, so that explains Nyman's pace. You can see his wheel's slightly to the left. But Nyman looks like he's got suspension damage. I did notice that a minute ago, but I wasn't sure if it was just the some lag or something like that, but it is true. So Nyman, does have car damage, so that explains his lack of pace in this second stint. Not quite sure where he's achieved that damage. David Junt goes through again. This leaves him with 7 laps to go as he crosses the line now. There we go. It's only 7 laps to go. He has this 5.4 second lead. Gasper's chasing him for all his worth, so maybe Gaspers knows something that we don't. I.e., David Junt is on a zero stop. Schumacher 3rd, Parisi's 4th. Skonoski still in 5th position, he's also yet to pit. Maspero 6th as well, yet to pit, from his teammate Robin van Brenk for the UK Tom Racing team. Both 6th and 7th at the moment. Schumacher sets the fastest lap actually after that spin a moment ago, so it just shows how much pace he had today, if he could have used it. The spin really cost him though, unfortunately, a minute ago. Skonoski does pit. Skonoski and Maspero in together, so 6th and 7th men in together. This is going to promote Chris Gray to a possible 6th position, so Chris Gray possibly into 6th position here if he get on this main straight fast enough. Quickly have a look at that, he's in 8th position. You can see the cars coming down the pit lane, and that's Skonoski and Maspero, and Chris Gray does move into 6th position, so Chris Gray having a superb race, and he has pitted. The only man we're waiting for now is David Junt to pit, if he's going to pit. It's going to be a great battle when they come out of the pits now, because Nyman has just gone through into 7th position, but he's going to have Skonoski and Maspero all over the back of him. Andy Oakley into the top 10, Andy Oakley is into 10th position, so he's having a superb race for his debut. Kept it nice and consistent, he's now inside the top 10, just in front of John McLean. So David Junt, is he pitting this time right? And he is, unfortunately, so he isn't on the 0 stop, he was on a very long stint. Great job from David Junt nonetheless, but it's quite disappointing that I thought he was going to try and challenge for the victory there. Yeah, Chris Williamson also just messaged me and said the fuel tank probably isn't big enough, and I did expect that as well, because obviously the track is quite full throttle as well, which wouldn't really help fuel usage. So David Gaspers retakes the lead from Martin Schumacher, will go through into 2nd. Jim Parisi is going to take 3rd. David Junt's still not away, you see him in the pit lane there, and Junt's just about to flash past on our left there. That's Jeff Mead just behind him a lap down, so David Junt should resume in that 4th position pretty safely. Van Brenk's coming down the main straight now though, so this is going to be quite close for Junt. He has taken that one safely, so David Junt resumes in 4th position, so a great job there from David. Nyman in 7th position, as we expected, does have Skonoski all over the back of him. Obviously Nyman, we said, with the damaged car, really struggling with it at the moment. Andy Oakley defending from John McLean in 10th position. We have a look at that as well. As John McLean goes down the inside, Oakley leaves him a little gap there, but then cuts it off at the last moment and says, nope, you're not coming down there. I may be new to the league, but I'm not new to racing, I know what I'm doing. Andy Oakley having a great start to his career. Formula Challenge. McNaughton's dropped down to 12th, so he's had a really poor end to this race. Miles Dixon 13th, up from a pretty disastrous start, as McLean gets on the inside, but I'm sure Andy will have the power down earlier, and he does. You see he gets to drive off the corner. Scott Bennett's dropped down to 15th a lap down, so he's had some disappointing times, unfortunately. David Gaspers leads, but McLean gets the drive off the corner there, and that's going to let Oakley's going to have to let him pass here. You're going to have to see position and try and take him back in the next few corners. Andy Oakley runs slightly wide there, which lets McLean through into 10th position. The gap to lead, Gaspers leads by 10 seconds to Schumacher, so there is going to be a Logics guy winning this race if he can just keep it on track for the next 5 laps. But we've seen already they've made mistakes in this race, and Gaspers, from having that spin early on, looking like he's thrown it all away, he's been gifted the win again, because we've had Schumacher making mistakes, we've had Zerka, his teammate, making mistakes, and he's got the win again. He had to fight for it though with Schumacher, that's for sure. Junt and Van Brenk in 4th and 5th look like they're going to be quite close soon, but actually no, it's quite a big gap, that, to be fair. Chris Gray holding his own in 6th position, doing a great job. Battle for 7th still going on, we'll switch to that quickly. As Andy Oakley pits from 11th position, that is, so Andy deciding he has to pit now. I believe that's his 2nd stop, so that could explain pace and why he's so far up. And to 14th now, unfortunately, and probably, yeah, that'll be, he dropped down to 14th position, so Andy drops down the field, unfortunately for him. As Neiman desperately tries to defend from Skonoski, who's got the run. Will Skonoski have the lunge? No, he won't. Neiman goes to the inside and says, no, you're not coming down there. And in the background, that is Maspero closing up as well, so Maspero in the background really closing up fast on this battle. So Skonoski's got to get past Neiman quickly, and otherwise he's going to have a face full of UK Som car. And Maspero is there right with them. He does run slightly wide into the corner there, but he's right on the back of them now. Skonoski breaks very late into that corner. Will he get the run off the corner? He will indeed. Nyman's struggling to get the car turned properly. He's got good straight line speed though, and he had good drive off the corner in the end, and Skonoski could nothing with that run. And in the background you see Maspero there. We'll go back and watch this from Maspero's view. So in front of us we have Skonoski and Nyman. Skonoski runs slightly wide in the first part. Now we never got to see Maspero and what pace he had in the session. You can see him fighting the car there, really fighting it at the rear. A lot of wheel work going into Maspero's car at the moment. We never got to see what sort of pace he had in the practice session or the qualifying sessions. You would have presumed it was somewhere near his teammate who was up in 5th position. So if Maspero could get up into 7th, that'd be a great job from the back of the field. And this is getting very close now. Maspero brakes late. Skrzynkowski brakes later. Skrzynkowski's got to run off the corner, but he's never going to try and move into this right-hander. It's a very dangerous chicane to try and pass into. Skrzynkowski shows his car, and he does try to make some sort of lunge, but then backs out of it halfway. That was very uncommitted there from Marek. He went in and decided not to, and then tried again. It didn't really work, so he needs to make one move. If he'd have launched it there, he probably would have made the move, but that's Maspero going very wide there. That's lost him a lot of time. That's eased the pressure slightly. In fact, in the background of this, if we look behind Maspero, that is John McLean, so suddenly we're going to have a four-way scrap for 7th position. Skrzynkowski now ever closer to R09. No battles going on up front. Gaspers leads by 10.3 seconds from Schumacher. Paris is 3rd, Junt 4th, Van Brenk 5th, Chris Gray 6th, and all them lot are all separated by a couple of seconds, so there's no battling there. This is the closest battle we have on the track, and the highest battle we have on the track currently. Miles Dixon getting some airtime there over the curbs. Not quite the airtime he wanted to get on the server, on the broadcast that is, but he's certainly been drinking some Red Bull before this race as Marek looks down the inside. And that four-way scrap we were going to have has been slightly ruined because it looks like McLean's had a very scruffy lap and has dropped back quite some way from this battle, so it's turned back into a three-way scrap with just 3 laps remaining. Skrzynkowski's got to do it soon because I'm sure Maspero will be dying to have a go in a second. We're on board with Skrzynkowski's going to turn 1. Surely he's not going to try it there. He does. He lunges down the inside, but Nyman will have the inside line. We'll look from the TV view, see what happens. That's Nyman on the inside. Skrzynkowski gets to run off the corner, though. He's got the drive off the corner. That's Maspero in the background. But Skrzynkowski, there's Skrzynkowski's on the inside. Sorry, outside even. He's going to try and do it around the outside. That's going to push him onto the curb. Surely, no, he just managed to get done. So great moves from Marek there. Surely that's going to let Maspero have a run. Maspero needs to make the move now if he wants to get Skrzynkowski. He doesn't do it though, and Nyman has pretty much given up on that position. Obviously with a damaged car, he can't really do much to defend that position. And now you see in the background Maspero trying desperately to get past Nyman, and you can see Skrzynkowski in 7th position getting away from him. He's got to make the move now. He doesn't do it though, unfortunately. This is giving Skrzynkowski the chance to pull away, and this is just what Marek wanted. With 2 laps to go for Gaspers, obviously we'll catch up with him in a lap's time when he's about to take victory, a solid victory actually. Maspero's got the run for the corner. This is going to be very close. Nyman really struggles out that corner every lap we see it. Maspero is on our left. You'll see his front wing end plate any second, I'm sure. He has got the inside line. Will he launch it down the inside? He does indeed. That has taken the position. So can he get after Marek now? So Maspero up into 8th position from the back of the field. Not a bad drive actually, considering he was stuck in traffic for so long. And Schumacher looks like he's had another spin actually. He's still in 2nd position, but he's only got 2 seconds on Paris now, so Martin Schumacher looking like he's made another mistake unfortunately. There's a lot of drivers who are really quick in this league, and we see this quite often, but they make a lot of mistakes, which really costs them unfortunately. And that's the only battle on track we had, and that's now deflated unfortunately. There's quite a big scrap going on for both 13th and 4th. Nope, sorry, that's a back marker, so there's no battle on track at the moment. Gaspers sets the fastest lap of the race, and a 28.8 as he starts his final lap, so we'll take him around this final lap. Pretty much a tour of the final lap. We need to keep an eye on Schumacher and Paris though, because they're closing up pretty fast. Schumacher looks like he's struggling in these last few laps. Not quite sure if he had any contact there. James Ross spins round. James Ross had a great qualifying, but he's really struggling in this race. Obviously had some contact early on. Maspero looks like he can do nothing as Nyman has dropped even further back and has got McNaughton over the back of him now. So McNaughton on this final lap could be taking 9th position from Harry Nyman. He's really struggling with his car. But they've got a lap and a half to go actually. We'll quickly switch that back actually because that's developing pretty quickly. We're on board with Adrian McNaughton in 10th position. He's got a great run now on Harry Nyman. Will he try and lunge it down the inside into the next corner? He's looking for it, but is he just showing his nose? He's just showing his nose. Nyman places his car in the middle of the circuit. Gaspers is halfway around the final lap now, so we'll switch to him shortly obviously to see him across the line. As this battle rages on for 9th position currently. Gaspers now coming around the final few corners, so we'll switch to David Gaspers, who, maybe quite fortunately, has taken this victory today. He did make a mistake early on, which dropped into 4th position, but he's been solid since then, and he comes out the final corner, profiting from his teammates' misfortune. Benjamin Zerka threw it away. David Gaspers takes it for Logix EV Racing, so I'm sure Kevin will be delighted at that, but maybe slightly unhappy at his second man's result. Obviously a DNF for the teammate of David Gaspers, Benjamin Zerka. He's got race 2 to redeem himself. Schumacher comes across the line in 2nd position. Jim Parisi is going to take 3rd. So Martin Schumacher takes 2nd, Jim Parisi's 3rd. David Junt, great drive from David Junt. Come around the final few corners, he's going to take 4th position. Only 30 seconds off the lead, so David Junt, and you can see he's very happy with that 4th position, so he should be. Another great result for David Junt, very consistent. Robin Van Brent comes across the line to take 5th position. 6th is going to be Chris Gray, and I can't speak highly enough of him. Chris Gray is going to take 6th position, that's a great result. Maspero has just tried something by the looks of it, or is it McNaughton? McNaughton and Nyman are side by side for 9th position. McNaughton's on the outside. This is the final few corners coming up. Nyman's currently in 9th position. Will McNaughton try it on the outside? He does, he lunges. Nyman does have the inside. Oh, that's close. And that's pretty much end of battle, I think, because Nyman should get it from here. I don't see him being passed, unless he makes a big mistake. Chris Gray takes 6th position. Marek Stanowski, a great drive as well, in 7th position. That's got to be said. Maspero 8th. And Ari Nyman comes across the line after a solid defence of his 9th position with damaged suspension. That's not a bad effort from him. McNaughton rounds out the top 10. Alex Rolls and Miles Dixon are the final finishers. Miles Dixon just coming around the final few corners now. There he is. Like he's having some issues with the car. Andy Oakley takes 13th. John McLean 14th. John McLean dropped down a hell of a lot in the last few laps actually. It looks like he had to pit with a few laps to go. Scott Bennett 15th and Jeff Mead 16th. Daniel McMahon even, 17th. James Ross 18th. Ihab Abbas 19th. And then the DNFs were Riku Sarpella, Nick Phillips, the unfortunate Benjamin Zerka, who seems to have the worst luck in the world, Wesley Morris and Dale Stones were all retired. So David Gaspers takes the win. Quite convincingly in the end by 18 seconds, but he didn't really deserve that gap from the early on mistake. It was the others that made the mistakes afterwards, and he kept his head in the final part of the race and took it. So quite an open race actually. We expected the two Logix guys to just drive off into the distance. Didn't happen. And Martin Schumacher did have some issues in that race with his force feedback apparently on his wheel, which has cost him obviously any chance of challenging Gaspers, which is a shame. So I thought we were going to have a really good scrap up front then. David Junt is extremely happy with his 4th position. He's doing burnouts in the pit lane.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Obviously the sprint race is the next event up, and that's 14 laps, pretty much half the first race. It'd be interesting to see if we get interviews from race 1. If anyone wants an interview after their race 1 results, please pop into the booth, into the green room, and we'll get you up here and get you on air. We're going to have I think it's a 10-minute break now we have, until the sprint race of 14 laps. That was a very action-packed race. It was only the final few laps that it really died down a little bit, but we still had some great scraps on circuit. Pit stops seemed to break up all the battles we had, but the first part of the race we had about 4 or 5 battles going on. It was really difficult to keep up with what was going on. Great scrap for the, at the time, 2nd position between Martin Schumacher and David Gaspers. Obviously that battle was slightly ruined when Schumacher had the incident he had. Obviously the grid will be reversed, so David Gaspers, who won the first race, will start 15th in this race. So we'll see someone on pole position we're not used to seeing. As the few guys that retired from round 1 now or race 1 even, and now re-entering the server. 9 minutes until the sprint race begins. Again, if you want to get in touch, any comments about the first race, if you enjoy watching it, please tell us. And obviously predictions for race 2 as well, because that's coming up shortly. Race 2 could be anybody's, to be fair, because once the grid's reset, and we saw a lot of collisions in race 1, we're going to see more of the same in race 2 for sure, because we've got people up front on the reverse grid who are not going to be used to starting there, and it's very, very intimidating sometimes. David Gaspers has just messaged and said it was his worst race ever despite winning, so obviously David, we're not happy with his the issues he had during the race. Scott Bennett heads out onto circuit. Quite a few cars out on track at the moment. A lot of them are just practicing starts once again, not really doing anything significant. Scott Bennett, the only man who we can see currently, goes out into turn 1. The Logic's car out as well, I've just seen there, so presume that will be Benjamin just trying to get back in the groove of things. Obviously he retired quite early in the first race, and there he is on a timed lap. David Junt is also out on circuit by the looks of it. So he's back in the pits now. No, he's not, he is out on circuit, but Benjamin Zirk will be the first person to set a lap time in this session. Unfortunately, he doesn't click into the reverse grid, so he'll be starting. So the two Logic guys are going to be starting 15th and probably 18th or 19th, I would have thought, in this race. So it's going to be tough for them to repeat a victory. I've seen it done before, though, obviously, early on in the season. Zerk gets very close there to the curbs on the tyres on the inside. As he comes around the final few corners now, he'll be the first man to set a lap time. And we saw the fastest lap in race 1 was a 20, and he taps the wall on the outside there, so he's still mad, obviously, at what happened. Fastest lap in race 1 was a 28.8 from his teammate, which was David Gaspers. Zerk goes across line there. Despite that tap, did a 29.2. Junt in 15th position, also on a lap time. Obviously finishing 4th, he will start 11th. So a good chance to score some points once again. David Junt comes out the final corner now. Don't think he'll beat Zerk's time. In the 30s mid somewhere. No, he does a 30.0, so that's quite a good time from Junt. Only 7 tenths off Zerk. And he decides to pit with that. Got Bennett on circuit, currently in 3rd position, but not actually set a lap time yet. Well off in sector 1 there. Five minutes to go of this warm-up session. Obviously, join us tonight live on simrace.tv. We're on stream 1. Thank you for joining us once again. Obviously, simrace.tv bringing us these great quality broadcasts. We're all very grateful for it. Also, a shout out to Ultranet, the networks who sponsor the GPVWC Formula Challenge series. And obviously our other sponsors, you might see some of the flags as you go around the circuit and the banners. We have SimSync, obviously the SimSync software we use to sync up the league, let's say. It's in their sponsors placed around the tracks. And the live races we use for the live timing. All sponsors of GPVWC. We wouldn't see this great racing without them. Just found out the actual name of this circuit. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's called Fundidora Park. Obviously Monterrey, Mexican. I think it was a Telmex Champ Car Series it was called around the Telmex Monterrey Grand Prix. I'm not quite sure on that one, but that was the last time it was used anyway for the Champ Car Series 2006. It was the Telmex Grand Prix of Monterrey it was called. The last winner was Sebastian Bourdais. Looking at the lap times actually, Sebastian Bourdais won that race. His best lap was a 13.2. So we're only, what, 15 seconds off Champ Car pace. That's not too bad in Formula BMWs, to be fair. Justin Wilson also in that race in second position, Paul Tracy in fifth as well, so some good names have raced around this circuit. A lot of people don't like Paul Tracy, so I'll probably not mention his name again. Zerka improves to a 29.2. So that was his first lap, just looking at McNaughton, who did a 30.5. Quite a few cars using this session to get to grips with it. Obviously Benjamin's first position currently. We're currently watching Andy Oakley, who's in 8th position. A solid first race. He impressed us. Had some good defensive driving. Obviously I think he was on a 2-stop, which was in the end the wrong strategy, but at least he got to have some battles with people. That's what it's all about. Got his name up there. Benjamin Zerka still leads the way on a 29.2 with 1 minute to go. We're just waiting to get the sprint race underway. Alex Rolls has gone to 3rd position on a 30.2. And as I say, the second race is usually quite open. Obviously the master of the last race was David Junt, who drove away up front. He's currently second in this session on a 30.0. Coming on board with Scott Bennett in 7th position, heading down to the final few corners. Marek Skanowski just in front of him. Marek's only just come out the pits, so he won't be setting a time lap unless he can get across the line in 3, 2, 1. So Marek will be able to set a time lap if he wants. And Scott Bennett decides to take the scenic route, and we're going straight towards the barrier. That's going to be a huge collision, so we'll quickly pitch away from that one there. So thank you to Scott Bennett for providing us with that onboard entertainment. Last few cars coming across the line now. Warm-up session is complete. Few guys just on the end of their laps. Marek was one of them. He decides to pit. We're just currently waiting on Aaron Maspero, who's having some issues with his wheel, so he'll be rejoining any second. And once he rejoins, the race will be underway. And Aaron Maspero rejoins the game now, so we are all ready to go pretty much. The revised grid will be read out to you obviously in a second when we go through the warm-up lap. And Chris, our race director tonight, Chris Williamson, gives us the all clear. And we're about to go to the race session.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
There we go, we are now at the race session. We'll go down the revised grid for you because it is very interesting, that's for sure. It's going to provide a very entertaining turn 1. For the revised grid position is Scott Bennett for FA Racing, who will start from pole position in the reversed grid. John McLean second, Andy Oakley up in third position in his first race, so he's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders there. The warm lap is underway. Slow start there from Bennett, but he does get us underway now. McLean took off first there. Miles Dixon in fourth position, Alex Rolls fifth, Adrian McNaughton sixth. And Adrian usually has good pace, so you'd expect to see him come through the field quite quickly. Harry Nyman, and without a damaged car as well, one to look for. Aaron Maspero, again, another one to look for. Marek Skanowski had a good result in round 1, in race 1, considering the grid position he started in. Chris Gray 10th, Robin Van Brenk is 11th, David Junt 12th, Jim Priest is 13th, Martin Schumacher and David Gaspers 14th and 15th. Now the people who don't get to take advantage of the reverse grid, they start where they finished, is Jeff Mead 16th, Daniel Merkner, I can never say it, I do apologise to Daniel. Daniel Merkinen in 17th position, we will get it right. James Ross in 18th position after that great qualifying in race 1, he starts well down the pack in this one. I have a Bass 19th. Nick Phillips 20th, Benjamin Zerka, who's spun once again at the back of the field. So he's really having a disaster this race. Wesley Morris 23rd and Dale Stones 24th. Benjamin is currently right at the back though. I'm sure he will rejoin. I'm sure he did that in race 1 as well, so maybe that's an omen for race 2. Scott Bennett just leading us down the back straight, just bunching the field up. Cameras sorted out, ready for the race. Clean warm-up lap so far, apart from Zerka's spin. But he's sat well back at the back of the field. He's just getting the most out of this, warming the tyres up. The leaders are coming around the final corner. Zerka's just down the back straight. So, a while we're sat on the grid. John McLean looks very... not flustered, but he looks like he wants to get on with it, let's say, in second position. He keeps passing Scott Bennett there, so perhaps he's signalling to Scott saying, come on, get on with it, I want to go racing. But unfortunately for John McLean, Zerka at the back of the field, well, he's actually passed a few cars now. Dale Stones is now the last man on circuit. They're only just coming around the final corner, so we're going to have a short wait for the guys at the back. So, Scott Bennett leads us onto the grid. You can see the guys in the background just forming up. So the second race of the GPVWC Formula Challenge Brought to you by simrace.tv and Ultranet Networks. Race 2 is about to begin. The fourth light is on now. And there was a jump start there. That was that Miles Dixon in fourth position had a jump start, I'm sure he did. But John McLean's got the jump away from the line, and that puts him into the lead in turn 1. I'm sure Miles Dixon will get a penalty for that because he really did jump the start there. It was a second too early on the lights. Now let's see how turn 1 goes. There's contact in the midfield slightly, but no spin once again, so we're through turn 1 safely. That's a great camera angle. We really get to see the whole field there. We're through turn 1 once again. Miles Dixon challenging for second position, but I'm sure it's a false second position. I'm just going to try and find out if he does actually have a drive-through penalty, and yes, he does. So Miles Dixon does have a drive-through penalty. In the background, there's a big kerfuffle going on. But everyone's got through safely, so it's all good. All good so far. Looking back for second position, there's a great battle going on there. That's... we're looking back from here. This is R09 in sixth position. That's Maspero going on the inside there. Maspero's up to third already. He's had a great start. In the background there, there's a few changes of position once again. Nyman and Skronowski, and there's a big kerfuffle going for the chicane there. They all got caught out. So there's Jim Parisius has apparently gone off the circuit as well. Jim Parisius is at the back of the field, but there's someone else off there. That's Nick Phillips is also back. Schumacher and Zirk look like they've come together. Schumacher's down to 21st position. He's got Parisius just going past him. So he probably saw that better than me there. There's a camera on these guys, and you saw the action going on. John McLean leads the way by 2.5 seconds from Maspero in second. So John McLean, I said he looked racy, and he's proved it correct because he did want to get on with this. And he certainly has so far as one of the... That's Alex Rolls going wide. Miles has spun, and that's caused a collision. Thank you to Whoopke Hoekstra as well. Andy Oakley's retired, unfortunately. He's the first retirement of the race, not surviving the first lap. So Whoopke Hoekstra, thank you for jumping in the box with us. He's basically been our spotter in the final corner. There's a big pile up in the back of the final corner. That was McNaughton involved. Schumacher looks like he got through. Zerkas is okay. Chris Gray, after the Great Race 1, has spun, unfortunately, at the back of the field. Dale Stones takes to the pit lane. He's obviously got some damage. So the order is John McLean from 2.8 seconds to Maspero in second position, but that gap's come down considerably. Third position is Scott Bennett, but he's got Harry Nyman and over the back of him, Marek Skanowski. Marek Skanowski's just gone off. Marek Skanowski's crashed, and he's down to 11th position. I was about to say he was in 4th or 5th, but he's not anymore. Robin van Brenk takes 5th position. David Junt, the master of race 2 last time out, is in 6th position. Alex Rolls 7th. David Gasper's up to 8th already. Wesley Morris up to 9th. He's had a great start. So Wes and Jeff up to 9th and 10th. They're going really well at the moment. Let's hope they can keep this up. Dale Stones resumes at the back. Skanowski's well down at the back of the field now, unfortunately, so he's thrown that position away. Once again, a mistake from Marek, and it's cost him. Battles all down the field. McLean now really under pressure from Maspero, who's caught him up like hand over fist like a hot knife through butter on this lap. You're watching the battle there. That's Gasper's trying to get through on the inside of Alex Rolls. So John McLean leads the way by 1.1 seconds, but Maspero is closing him down, hand over fist. And Maspero, just in the background there, will be taking the lead shortly for the UK SOM racing team. Scott Bennett in third, Harry Nyman in fourth. And Scott Bennett's doing well to hold off Nyman so far, actually. He's done well to hold him off for a few laps now. David Junt sixth, closing down on Robin van Brenk. Alex Rolls and David Gasper's battling for that 7th position. I'm sure it'll be on before Gasper's gets by. Gasper's trying something into turn 1, doesn't quite work, but he does get the inside line for the exit, and Gasper's looks like he's going to take... As Zerka sets the fastest lap of the race, he's well down the field in 18th though, unfortunately. Gasper's has taken 6th position. Someone else looks like they've gone off as well. Is that Van Brenk who's gone wide? I think Van Brenk's just up further down the field as well. He's spun as well, so Van Brenk is down to 8th position. Wesley Morris still in 9th position, going well. You're looking at the battle for the lead as John McLean now comes under more pressure from Aaron Maspero in second. Scott Bennett still third, Nyman in fourth. Junt fifth, Gasper's 6th, Rolls. And Maspero has taken the lead there, you saw that live. Maspero did take the lead there, so Maspero wants to get on with this. And he's now taken the lead. Looking further down the field, Miles Dixon, who's yet to come in for that drive-through penalty, as Van Brenk once again makes a mistake. This allows Wesley Morris through into 8th position. Wes from pretty much the back of the field up to 8th position. Jeff Mead has spun as well, unfortunately for him. He's right at the back of the field. Schumacher's off once again. Martin Schumacher's got no front wing. Martin Schumacher he's completely destroyed that car. Schumacher's race pretty much over. He's got no front wing. He's destroyed the front suspension. Great battle here for Wes and Miles, and they make contact there. That's Wes off into the thing. Just turned in there. Didn't respect that someone had the inside line. He's cut the entirety of the track. I'm sure that would be a penalty or something, because he didn't respect the fact that there's someone alongside him there. Wes turned in completely there, completely oblivious to what was going on around him. Miles Dixon takes to the pits this time by. So there's all action in these first few laps as Gaspers sets the fastest lap of the race. Maspero leads by 7/10 of a second from John McLean. R09 in third. And we're going to watch this battle actually because there is a battle going on for third position as Scott Bennett's trying to defend. It's not going to work though. Nyman does come through. Can Scott retaliate off the exit of the corner? He's got a great run, so Scott Bennett looking to retake this third position, which Nyman has just fought so hard to take. And Scott Bennett has retaken it. Can he do the braking? He can indeed, and he's back in front of us again. But now Nyman's got to come off the corner, but the problem is on the outside. He switches back to try and get the inside line, but it's too late. So Scott Bennett defends that third position greatly. Gasper's in fifth now. He's already passed who's looking at us from behind now, so Gasper's really getting on with this. He's only 5 seconds behind the leader, and you wouldn't bet against him catching that leader with the 11 laps we have to go. Alex Rolls 7th, Leslie Morris still in 8th. I'm sure he's going to drop back and possibly even have a penalty. Schumacher spun apparently, and that allowed Zerka to run into the back of him, and Zerka and Schumacher both in the pit lane, so a disaster for them two. They're well out of this one now, but this allows someone else to get on the podium anyway, because you currently have Maspero leading by 1.3 seconds. Gasper's already eaten into that lead. Junt trying to retaliate, as you see, but Junt using a lot of curb. That's going to cost him eventually. Now Nyman is just in front of us here. You see that's Nyman and Scott Bennett still battling, and Gasper's is right on the back of them already. Big battle going on for 9th position. We'll quickly have a look at that. Leslie Morris is holding a train of 2 cars. There's contact there in the final corner, and that's now I'm trying to get around the outside there. Van Brink just behind. Gaspers once again sets the fastest lap of the race. We're going to look at Gaspers in 5th position because he's right on the back. In fact, he's already going past by the looks of it. No, he's trying to get past. That's Nyman on our right hand side. And Gasper's trying to take him on the inside. That's not going to work. That's caused a bit of contact there. Contact on the exit once again. This is going to give Junt the run. Junt's going to take both of them, is he? He's got Nyman. Will he launch down the inside of Gaspers? Oh, they're both launching down the inside of Gaspers. We can't quite see what's happening, but Junt's taken them both. So Junt takes 2 cars there, so a mistake from Gaspers in some respects. He tried it on the outside, that was never really going to work. He just turned in. Junt's got by, that's Nyman's got by. This is giving Scott Bennett some breathing room, but this is helping Maspero front pull away. Or is it because is that Maspero? No, that was John McLean spinning. So John McLean's just spun in 2nd position. This allows Scott Bennett right onto the back of him. You can see there just in the distance. That's just there. That's John McLean, Scott Bennett, Harry Nyman on our left, and we're on board with David Gaspers. David Junt's just behind us there. Gaspers trying to go around the outside and he pulls it off. Great move from Gaspers this time. That's McLean going very wide there. Gaspers will have a run at him. Scott Bennett's already got past him into 2nd position, so a great job from Scott up to 2nd position. So this battle is a 5-6 way scrap for 2nd position. Wesley Morris still in 8th, holding off an absolute train of cars, doing his best to keep that 8th position. Jeff Mead has also retired now, unfortunately. And Gaspers is trying to get the inside of John McLean, and he does so, and now he will have the tow. Actually, John McLean's got the tow because Nyman has stayed right to the right. In fact, that's Bennett, sorry, stayed right to the right. McLean's on our inside, and will Gaspers try around the outside? And that's Bennett locking his brakes, so that's caused McLean to go in slightly wider than he would have anticipated, which caused him to have a lot of traction on the exit, and that's allowed Gaspers round the outside of him. So Gaspers takes that position back up to 3rd position now. Can McLean retaliate? That's Nyman and Junt just in the background there. Bennett will have his work cut out now defending this position. I'm sure Gaspers will be looking to get past him as soon as he can because the gap to lead is 6 seconds. Maspero has just run away with this one as Bennett locks his inside front left. In fact, I think he locked both his front wheels there. Wesley Morris has a huge contact for 10th position. You're on board, that's McNairn who's upside down there. Wesley Morris was involved in that. Not quite sure how that started, but a huge contact there at the chicane. McNairn's just sat in the middle of the track. McNaughton retired as well. A stop and go for Nick Phillips, who's also retired, so we have quite a lot of action going on in this race at the moment as Bennett's trying desperately to defend from Gaspers in 2nd position. McLean in the background trying to hold off Nyman, and Junt was also trying to make some out of this. Junt really hasn't progressed as much as he wanted to. Alex Rolls in 7th, I have Abbas 8th, Jim Priest is 9th, Robin Van Brink 10th position, Marek Skanowski up into 11th. Wesley Morris now down to 13th. Scott Bennett receives a little tap there from Gaspers. In the background, Nyman's actually got past McLean now, and Junt's going from the inside as well. You can see in the background as Gaspers gets a terrific run off the final corner, and this allows him to take the position down the straight. He's going to have the inside line for turn 1, so this frees him up now for turn 1. If he can make this move stick, sure he will. Gaspers will take this position, and there he goes. And there's some people coming out of the pit lane there. Will they get involved in this battle? In fact, that's his teammate, that's Gaspers' teammate, that's Zerka, who's only just come out of the pits, and they're going to get right involved in that battle for 3rd position. We're on board with Nyman. That's John McLean behind us, David Junt there as well, trying to make something of it. McLean's made a mess of that chicane completely. That's allowed Junt to get past him. Junt will have the inside for this next corner. Gasper's getting on with it now. We're looking back from Nijmegen into that 4th position. Gasper's now on his way. He's got 6.3 seconds to make up in 8 laps. Can he do it? Maspero leads the way currently. Dale Stones has also retired now, so we only have 16, 17 runners now. The two, well, Schumacher and Zerker are still in this race, but they're down in 21st and 22nd, pretty much racing together for that last position, but there's 3 laps between them and the leaders, let's say. Scott Bennett still in 3rd position, but he's going to be coming under pressure soon from Nijmegen, who's right. We'll look back from Scott Bennett, so that's David Junt. We're looking back now from Scott Bennett. James Ross has also retired. So we're now down to 15 runners. This is really a race of attrition. It's completely opposite to the first race. He apparently lost his front wing. Wesley Morris has spun again. We'll just call it a day soon. He was up in the top 10 early on, but once again can't put together a consistent race pace. The work to be done for Wes still, not showing the improvement that we were all hoping. Some drivers have really come on, some have just stuck to where they were originally. They really need to look at each other and maybe look at some of the tips that the top drivers are doing. Gap for the lead comes down to 5 seconds. David Gaspers is at 29.0, Maspero at 30.5. 1.5 seconds in 1 lap David Gaspers took out of Maspero. So Maspero really going to struggle to hang on. Obviously we had an interview with him in the practice session. And obviously he was setting up for this race too pretty much. He expected to be up there in race 2, and he certainly is at the moment, but he'll do well to keep this victory. You're still looking back from Scott Bennett from this terrific scrap from 3rd position. Got John McLean just in the background as well off this, but Junt's trying to make something now. Junt's right in the slipstream as Nijmegen. Will he have a lunge down the inside into the next corner? No, he sits back and decides to wait for a better opportunity. We're keeping an eye on this battle at the moment, but Zerker and Schumacher are actually battling for that. I did say there's only 15 cars left. Of course there are 17, but we didn't really count them two because they are 3 laps down the lead of Schumacher and Zerker after their incidents on lap 1. As you see, this battle hotting up for 2nd position now. Bennett trying to defend. Well, actually Bennett didn't defend at all. Nijmegen tried to take the inside line, didn't quite work out there. Junt's going to have the optimal run now off the corner. Nijmegen looking down the inside. He's got a bit of a slide on there coming into the corner. This will give Bennett the run off the corner because he's on a more shallow apex, and he's going to be able to quite easily defend that position into turn 1. So 1, 2, 3 has come across the line. That's 3rd, 4th and 5th. All together just in the background there, that's John McLean and Alex Rolls. Alex Rolls having a good race in 7th position. Jim Parisi is up to 8th now. Just behind Alex Rolls actually, so that could be a pass soon. As there is action going on for 2nd position, as always. Sorry, 3rd position, Scott Bennett trying desperately to defend Nijmegen. He's doing a great job so far, Scott. He's really holding on to his podium. 6 more laps and it's his. Can he hold on? The gap for the lead didn't come down as much that time, only 5 tenths, and Maspero did a better job that time round, so he could still possibly do this. As Bennett gets very leery of the curves, that's giving Nijmegen the run, but he's got nowhere to go with it, and this allows David Junt alongside. They're going to go 3 wide into the next corner. This is going to be nasty if they don't all take a chill pill. Junt's down the inside. There is slight contact there between Nijmegen and Junt. This has allowed Alex Rolls to close. No, it's not. Sorry, that's back markers. That's Schumacher. That's the recovering Schumacher and Zerker, who are 17th and 18th onto the back of this group. So they're going to be getting involved trying to unlap themselves in a second. This is going to be interesting, as there are going to be no blue flags as such for them two. And you can see there Schumacher in the background. He's actually past Junt now. So Junt has been unlapped. Has unlapped himself. Sorry, Schumacher has unlapped himself on Junt. Junt takes the position back. And slightly deep though, so they're all battling each other here. And this is allowing Scott Bennett to pull away still. Gap for the lead, 3.7 seconds as Gaspers comes across the line. It's 3.5. Another second out the lead that time by. So Nijmegen now is under pressure as well from Junt, who's going around the outside. And Junt's going to try going down the inside into turn 1. That's Junt left there in the yellow car, and he does take the position. So Junt takes 4th position. Nijmegen trying to respond, but he's got Schumacher all over the back of him, and Zerker, who's trying to make something of it as well. Them two not really involved in this scrap technically. Jim Priestis has just taken Alex Rolls, or has he? Yes, Jim Priestis goes up to 7th position. Not really much else going on down the field, to be fair. This is the best scrap on track at the moment. Here, there's Zerker and Schumacher in the background there. They're really giving Nijmegen a hard time, and to be fair, he doesn't deserve it because they're not really racing him as such. Obviously, they're free to race themselves. Hoekstra pointing out there that Schumacher's only got 2 more laps to go and he's on the same lap, so obviously only 5 laps to go in him, so it's slightly unrealistic that he might do that. Something's happened to Jim Paresis. Jim Paresis has spun, he's down to 9th position now. So Jim Paresis has just spun after passing Alex Rowe for that 6th position. And John McLean's also spun as well. So John McLean, I wonder if there was contact between them two because they're together on track. And John McLean's also down to 8th position now. As Scott Bennett has had it all to himself for the last 2 laps, his podium position. Can he hang on to that podium? It would be a great result if he can. As who's that? That's Schumacher trying to come to the inside once again. And he's done it. Schumacher's got past Nyman. And this is really interrupting this great scrap we had for 3rd position. So it's a bit of a shame that this has actually happened. John McLean's gone off in the middle of the sector of the lap, and he's actually out now with suspension failure. So another car out. We're down to 16 runners now. Gasper's got the lead down to 2.2 seconds with only 4 laps to go, so it's going to be a battle for the lead shortly. We'll keep an eye on this battle for 3rd currently because David Junt has closed right up. As you see, David Junt right on the back of Scott Bennett, who's defended this position since basically lap 1. Scott Bennett going to the middle of the track to say, you're not coming by here. David Junt says, I'm not even going to try it. I'm going to set you up for the exit of this corner. That's exactly what he's done, look. He's going to get a really good drive for this corner now, but Scott Bennett's leaving him nowhere to go. Junt's going to the inside though, so Scott Bennett made a little bit of a defensive mistake there. He's allowed Junt the inside line. Will Junt, he refused this a few laps ago and he does once again. So Scott Bennett gets away with that one. That was a slight mistake from Scott there. He did cover it initially, and he's gone slightly wide into the previous corner. This allows Junt to run once again, but Junt once again signalling he's not going to try anything, but this is the best opportunity. Set it up for the exit here. That's exactly what he's doing. Look, he's going to have the switch back really easily. And on the back of us, that's actually Schumacher and Zerka, so they need to be careful not to get too involved in this battle because this is a great scrap. Scott Bennett does lose out in that 3rd position. He's on our left-hand side, but he's trying to retaliate on the outside. Not quite sure if he can pull this one off. He tries it, doesn't quite work though. On the outside once again. He'll have the inside for the next corner though, but he will run wide. That's going to cost him. Gap for the lead down to 1.6 seconds, so another lap and Gaspers will be there, I reckon. So Scott Bennett trying to retaliate to David Junt, who's just moved up into 3rd position. David Junt obviously finished 4th in race 1. He's looking for a 3rd in race 2. He's currently got that 3rd position, but Scott Bennett's trying to take it off him into turn 1. David Junt's gone very wide. That's David Junt across the grass. There's going to be contact there surely, and there is contact, and all 4 of them get wiped out instantly. That was unbelievable. Schumacher and Zerka all get wiped out in that melee there that happened in turn 1. This allows Nyman through into 3rd position. Scott Bennett's still in 4th position, and they're still battling behind. That's Nyman, and so that's Scott Bennett we're on board with now. Looking back to David Junt, it's pretty much stayed exactly the same. Look, apart from the fact they've all lost 1 position. Unbelievable. That was going to be a contact there. David Junt unfortunately went way too wide for 2-1 and caused a collision there. And Gaspers is on the back now. Gaspers is right on the back of, and we're going to look at the leader, Maspero. We're on board with Maspero now. Looking back, that is David Gaspers with only 3 and a bit laps to go. Well, 2.5 laps to go, let's say. Gaspers now right on the back, and the pace advantage he's got, it should be fairly comfortable pass. He's trying it left, right and centre. Is he going to try it now into the final corner? He is, and Maspero's left him the gap. Maspero, a defensive mistake there, left him the gap. That's taken the position, and that was a very easy pass. And Maspero nearly loses it on the exit there, actually. A big oversteer moment, so that's that battle done with. I can't see Gaspers losing that one. We'll quickly switch back to, and he sets the fastest lap in doing so, actually. So Gaspers really on it. 28.9 is only a 10th off his best in race 1. And that's Junt trying to get around the outside of Bennett. There's contact there. This allows Schumacher up the inside, who isn't really technically racing these two, but he is trying to get back past them. And Junt will have to do it all again. That's Zerka on the outside once again as well. Zerka's now passed as well as they go across the line. Schumacher's being careful not to impede these two too much. Zerka should do the same because Junt is now sandwiched, and Schumacher taps the back of Scott Bennett there. So these need to be careful, these two, because they're not really racing, these two, but they've got their own battle to deal with. Bennett gets a bit of a twitch out of turn 1. Van Brenken rolls a side by side for 6th position as well. We'll quickly switch to that. Well, in fact, we'll look back at that because there was a spin there going. I'm sure there was. I'm sure Schumacher's just spun off or something. He has indeed. Schumacher's just spun in the background. And Zerk as well. That lets a lot of cars through, so Scott Bennett safely back through into 4th position. David Junt 5th, Robin Van Brenk in 6th position. And that was David Junt getting a very leery moment there out of turn 6, I believe. Robin Van Brenk has just passed Alex Rose, you see there, and Jim Paresis is just in the background. David Gaspers has pulled away now. It's now a 2nd gap to Aaron Maspero. Alex Rolls now has Jim Paresis all over the championship leader. Ahmed Abbas, Marek Skanowski, and actually that's Schumacher and Zerka again behind Abbas. It's not a true battle. That was Alex Rolls going very wide there. That's allowed Jim Paresis straight through. Jim Paresis an easy move there into the position he's been after. The battle for 3rd has pretty much died off now, unfortunately. David Junt and Scott Bennett are nowhere near each other. Robin Van Brenk and Paresis now is the next battle on track, which we're currently watching. Obviously, Van Brenk currently holds that 6th position from Paresis, but Paresis wants it. And there's only 1 lap to go, actually, so we've got to be careful now. 1 lap to go. That's really flown by that race. It's been so action-packed. It's unbelievable. We've had some really good racing. All for 3rd position as well, pretty much. Barrow's done a great job, but he couldn't hold on at the end, unfortunately. He's down to 2nd position, but it's still a great result for the UK SOM racing team. UK SOM, as they like to be pronounced. Van Brenk still battling here. He's got Jim Paresis right behind it. Alex Rolls is in some form of a battle with Abbas in the background as well, but they've got Schumacher and Zerka right on the back of them. But we'll keep an eye on this battle here, because this is more important, because this is Jim Paresis, our championship leader, trying to get past Robin Van Brenk. And there's contact there, and that's Jim Paresis going to spin. Another mistake from Jim Paresis. He's really not showing the fact that he's leading the championship. That's going to let a heap of cars past as he comes back onto the circuit. There they go on the left-hand side. That's Alex Rolls, who's passed 3 times this race. Jim Paresis also trying to take Arthur Vass back on the inside there, but David Gaspers is coming around the final corner. He's going to make it 2 out of 2. So David Gaspers does the double here at Monterrey, Mexico, and he comes across the line to take the win in the sprint race, round 2 of the GPVWC Formula Challenge event. Just looking back now, because the battle for 7th position is really hotting up. So well done to David Gaspers. He's got to be happy with that. He was disappointed with race 1 despite winning, but he's got to be happy with that. That's Jim Paresis, Alex Rolls. Jim Paresis trying to get past, but Jim Paresis has got it. But who's that? Is that Schumacher on the inside? There's going to be contact there, surely. Schumacher really needs to be careful, because Alex Rolls could take the position here. That's Alex Rolls just behind us there. Unfortunately can't make any of it. I have a mass now side by side with Alex Rolls, and Alex Rolls is going to lose out there. That's really unfortunate for Alex. That allows Hyperbass into 8th position. So we have Gaspers, Maspero, Nyman, Bennett, Junt, Brenk, Paresis, Hyperbass, Alex Rolls and Skronowski comes across the line in 10th position. Miles Dixon's going to be 11th, Chris Gray 12th, Wesley Morris 13th, Daniel Merkinen in 14th position, Benjamin Zerka 15th, Martin Schumacher 16th, and that's it. We have everyone else is out of the race. So a really attrition-filled race there. Those who catch your breath, that was an extremely fun race to watch and commentate on. I hope you enjoyed it, viewing it as well. You're watching the double race winner David Gaspers entered the pit lane. We're going to see a burnout from him, or he's going to be as professional as he's been for the first 2 races. First race was anyone's, but he really deserved this second race. Starting from 15th, getting through, and he's basically put the move on Maspero with 4 laps to go. And took it from there, and he won by 4.2 seconds in the end with a very fast lap. So David Gaspers takes the double here today, showing once again how dominant Logic's EV racing can be. Not many surprises after that. I'd say driver of the race that time by probably Maspero, actually. A very solid race in 2nd position. Great comeback from round 1, or race 1 even. Waiting now to see if we get any interviews now, because we have no one in the box at the moment. Obviously, there's no PT racing tomorrow night, as there has been for the last few Thursdays. So the next broadcast for GPVWC, in particular on simrace.tv, will be next Wednesday, which is a Super Cup event. And Benjamin Zerka has decided to come and join us. Obviously, after 2 disasters today, he's finished out the points on both occasions. We'll bring him into the booth now. So Benjamin, obviously pretty much a disastrous race for yourself. Unfortunately, your teammates had the double. We thought you had the first race in the bag, and obviously the second race was pretty disastrous as well, getting involved in the pile-up on lap 1. Took us 3 races.
Yes, big disaster. Oh my god, I don't know what to say. That was pretty amazing in the second race with Schumacher. We had big fan, and yeah, it was not the best way to race in the second race, and the first race was quite difficult. At the first pit stop, I did a little mistake, and I got oversteering, and so my car crashed the wall, and so the race was finished for me. Round 100, 90 seconds pit stop, and that was too much to get points anyway, and so I finished the race in the pit. The second race, well, I don't have to say much to this, I think.
Yeah, we saw the accident in race 2, and it was quite an attrition-filled race as well. I mean, there were a lot of retirements in that race, and many more spins and accidents. Obviously, yourself involved in them, and Martin Schumacher as well. We saw yourself and Martin having a great battle. Obviously, albeit 3 laps down for 15th position at the end there, getting quite involved with the battle for the podium. It did break the battle for the podium up, unfortunately, for us viewers. We were having a great scrap there, and obviously you two came along trying to unlap yourself, and obviously you had nothing to do but really try and pass them. But it did create a very unique situation, though. I noticed at one point Schumacher kept letting Nyman and back past, so it was quite difficult to judge what was going on there.
Well, it was quite funny and difficult and so on. The drivers which were in front of us, of course, like you said, they weren't our well, how to say, race opponents, but we had a big disaster in the first lap, and in the second lap, of course, the drivers, the other drivers made mistakes, and we made them too because they made them. So we hadn't the chance to get a better position or more points or points in this way. A 15th place wasn't in our way, so we did a funny race at the end, and maybe we will get something like I don't have the word now. Something like something like a penalty, of course. Martin said it. So it took a time to say it. So, but it was funny at least, and that's all we need in a race. It has to be funny, and
It was certainly entertaining, yes. I mean, I was going to say actually as well, obviously we spoke to your team, well, he's not team boss as such, but obviously Kevin helping you out quite a lot for the races and that motivation and so on. We spoke to him before the first race, and we were basically discussing the teamwork and so on. Obviously Gasper's taken the double today. We always see you two together working as a team, so obviously I'm sure you're still happy for David to take the double, but to slightly disappoint for yourself. But it's a team effort, and you both take pride in the victory.
Well, of course, it was a good race for David, and I'm happy for him and for the team also. Maybe I should have better done in this race, or it's like it's a little bit disappointing, and I'm mad and angry, of course. But that's life, and that's racing, and maybe next time in the next race, by the next circus, we will get much more points and maybe place 1 and place 2 like we did in qualifying. So let's see what we can do in the season, in the rest of the season.
It is indeed about time you got a 1-2 in the race, because you're both fast enough for it, and we keep expecting to see you two just drive off into the distance, but it never happens. You keep providing us with these action-packed races, so thank you very much and keep it up. But thank you anyway, Benjamin, for joining us, and well done obviously in qualifying, but unlucky in the race.
No problem. Bye.
Thank you. See you later. It looks like we have no more interviews for tonight. Race 2 was incredibly exciting. Race 1 was great at the beginning, lull at the end. We hope you enjoyed tonight. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed tonight's racing. It was really good. Obviously on a unique track. Different track anyway. And I think we'll wrap it up there pretty much. There's no one else to turn up. So this has been a GPVWC production for simrace.tv. Hope you enjoyed it. Please tune in next time, and thank you very much. Good night.